stop at backward point for no run again.
You normally get a slow build-up, don't you, with some of the lights at grounds, but that was like full-on straight away.
It shocked me, one of the T20 Blast games, the first one I've been to, one of the lights this year, after the end of the game, they all started flashing, and it went dark for a few moments, and it was like, oh no, they're doing that on purpose. It was like a power cut. Dawson in, pushed defensively down the pitch for no run, and these can do all sorts of different patterns and spell out letters and this sort of thing they can now. As I say, it's like throwing a switch here, they come on immediately. But yeah, they are on now as the ground is completely covered by dark cloud. Dawson in again, played defensively for no run to the man at short extra cover. 119 for 6.
You can see head coach Eddie Birrell, the Hampshire head coach, right at the far end of the ground, just having a look to see if the wicket is turning much at the moment. Doesn't seem to be doing a lot.
Dawson very quickly ready again. Oh, outside off stump. Has that taken the outside edge? No. The wicketkeeper Ben Brown goes up first, slip goes up, spins, spits and turns past the outside edge as Simon Harmer's bat.
I'm not sure whether I want to see more of that or not at the moment with the situation in the match.
This next one from Dawson is angled on middle and leg, and Harmer gives it everything and lofts it, pitching wedge style, over the inner ring of fielders and picks up 4 runs. 123 for 6, and the Essex lead is 198 runs at the end of that Liam Dawson over.
That's a good shot, that, isn't it? You really have got to pick the right ball to be hitting across the line like that. I saw some of that earlier on this morning, and that rapid end to the Hampshire innings, and Harmer, I think, has hit that as well as any that we've seen off the spinner against the spin. Barker again, and Vince having a chat just to the side of the playing surface. I think they will be getting a little anxious now about the size of the lead.
Lancashire 49 for 1 in reply to Gloucestershire's 337 all out. Nottinghamshire 422 for 7. They didn't start till after lunch there. And Kent 45 for 1 responded to Surrey 673 for 7 declared.
Fuller starting his second over of the game, bowls, and Rossington gets one that's a length ball. He drives that towards mid-wicket, fielded by Anarin Donald. And there is no run. Now that cloud is over us. I'm not sure it's the worst of the cloud yet, but it's we're okay at the moment. But definitely this cloud's going to be hanging over us now for a while.
Yeah.
It's just what follows this. So Fuller comes in. Temperature's dropped a bit as well, as you'd expect. Comes in and bowls. That's chipped in the air. One bounce up to Barker at mid-on. Wasn't really in any danger there, as it was to Barker's left side. But it was in the air as it went past Fuller, although it was well to his right. 123 for 6. There's still 39 overs left in the day, which I'm surprised at the amount of spin we've had today.
Yeah,
considering the time of the day.
Getting through them relatively quickly, didn't they?
They were, but it seems to have slowed up a little bit now. Fuller just loses his run there. I think there was a little gust of wind, actually, about 2 paces before he was going to gather himself into his action, and they just have pushed him off, because I just felt a little gust. But yeah, we're 3:15. Normal T is 20 to 4. 7 overs to bowl after this. We probably are, maybe just a few minutes late, maybe. But maybe the weather might have a bit of a say, as it's changing. As Fuller's in again. Bowls, shortish, and that's nicely guided by Rossington out into the deep at point, and that's Liam Dawson doing the fielding out there in front of the pavilion, and takes the Essex total to 124 for 6. The lead is 199, very nearly at that psychological point of 200.
Yeah, sort of thought if you get to 200, it's a good game. 230 to 40, 250 is probably out of Hampshire's reach, but the pitch isn't doing much at the moment.
No, it's not. Fuller comes in again and bowls, and Harmer pushes that length ball out towards wide mid-off, where it's fielded by Abbott. It looks like Joe Root's got player of the series for that England-New Zealand 3-match series.
Did he fail in a couple of innings, or was it just the one? I don't remember now, but yeah, I mean, Johnny Bairstow was at those 2 centuries, and obviously what he got today as well, but didn't do anything in the first test.
There was a few candidates for that, wasn't there? Here comes Fuller bowls again, and Harmer gets one. She pushes down the leg side past a diving Ben Brown. What's that hit? It's off the bat. I'm not sure it would have carried to Ben Brown had he got there. Might have been a good contest, but there was enough deflection on that, and the applause that you can hear in front of us, of course, is for the lead because it's gone over the 200 mark.
Yeah, as you say, the psychological 200 mark, and I think the very fact that we'd seen Barker and Vince in particular on a number of occasions in conversation tells you the concern that they were having about how big this lead might get for Essex.
It's really down to the Harmer factor from now on, isn't it? I think that's really going to be the telling difference. That's pulled and missed by Harmer. He's not actually executed his pull and hook shots too well at the moment. They've not come off the middle of the bat anywhere near it, and I think that one's come off maybe high up the bat, maybe a glove onto his chest. Anyway, I think he'll go for it anyway, no matter what. 128 for 6 at the end of that. Fuller overs, 2 overs none for 8. And we have 7 overs till tea.
Yeah, he's had several goes at that now, that pull shot.
Yeah,
still just can't get it right, can't time it correctly. As we were just discussing with Adam Rossington, who's playing the shot 2 or 3 times there, and Rossington was having a word with him. So 128 for 6, with people putting on their light jackets way to our right hand side, so they have come prepared. They've looked at the forecast, thought, yeah, maybe just throw a light waterproof in the bag.
I brought one.
Yep, mine's in the car, which is not great if you have to run through a deluge to go and get it, but I have had I put my long sleeves on all day. It was chilly this morning. Here's Dawson away from us at the river end, in and a bowling to Rossington, and that almost beat him in the flight there.
That's an area where I think, because I must admit, I thought about that a couple of overs ago, because what he does do, anything that's about mid-on leg, he sort of pushes at it through a mid-on area, and there's a couple that have gone up in the air on that offside. Just pushes at it quite hard.
And in a short extra cover. Dawson's in again, and on the drive is Rossington, wide of mid-off. He has to come round and collect the ball. Another singular cruise, 129 for 6.
Yeah, Gubbins was in that sort of general area for that. On that occasion, not quite in the right area, but I've noticed a couple of times Rossington does play it quite well. He sort of pushes at it and gets the single on this leg side, but a couple have just spewed off a leading edge.
Dawson very quickly, the ball back in hand, and Harmer props forward, and ball drops into the onside for no run. 129 for 6, 204, the Essex lead. Still in the second afternoon of the game, and 26 wickets have fallen. Dawson very quickly back into his delivery stride, and off the back foot, cut away by Harmer, and he'll get 4 runs for that shot. Dawson just dropping short, spinning wide, and Harmer able to rock back and hit that through point for 4 runs. 133 for 6, 208 goes to the Essex lead.
Yeah, and that many wickets, and we haven't had a wicket for about 40 minutes, which is an absolute age in the context of this match. Yesterday was a little bit different, but in the context of today, certainly it's a long time.
Dawson gets the ball back after Barker had to go and fetch it. He's in, and just pushing back down the pitch this time, Harmer. For no run, Dawson fielding on his follow through. 3 for 71 in the first innings for Liam Dawson from his 18.5 overs. 3 for 39 so far, coming to the end of his 18th over of this innings. So tidier figures this time around as he's in, and Harmer gets an inside edge to that, and it dribbles behind square on the onside. End of the over, 133 for 6. Yeah, Dawson 3 for 39 from 18 overs so far. So I'm imagining that the damage to his figures in the first innings was done when Snater came to the wicket.
Yeah, played very, very positively indeed. Now the 2 umpires are having a chat. The lights are on, so I'm not sure what else they're actually chatting about. It wasn't very long anyway. Certainly the light is a lot darker, even with the lights on. Maybe with Fuller on, maybe they're having to think about that.
So you get into this territory, don't you, where do the floodlights improve the light, at which point they have to come off.
Yeah.
This sort of technicality of the law, most people would just say if the lights are on and they can play, just play. But
I agree. But then we're not out there facing James Fuller.
Correct.
It's nice from another 100 yards further away. Here comes Fuller in then, bowls to Rossington. Rossington works that just wide of Barker at mid-on. Thinks about a single. doesn't take it. Just think because of Donald coming across at mid-wicket, may just have put doubt in the batter's minds. Yeah, this dark cloud continues to move across, and it's okay at the moment, but there is some more different type of grey cloud on the horizon, cloudy, which may be a bit more of a problem, but that's a little way off yet. As Fuller's in the game to Rossington. Rossington just steers that into that vacant point area where Dawson comes in off the rope. 134 for 6. Every run now for me is an absolute bonus for Essex. They probably feel already they're in a territory which gives them more than a good chance of victory.
James Vince in T20 mode might have something to say about it. He tried to be positive in the first innings.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. There's a few Hampshire supporters here actually, and I spoke to one or two over the lunch break, and I think their biggest point they made, because they always like to make a point. In fact, one or two of the Essex people did as well that spoke to me. Here's Fuller again. Length ball, always late on that one, Harmer, but he pushes that away behind square on the leg side for a single. 135 for 6. The lead is 210. And actually Vince's dismissal is the one that's probably most talked about. And as we've said and we've discussed, and I've mentioned several times, is that his method to overcome Harmer last night, and you'll have to remember that for a while Harmer was just about unplayable, that he decided that to hit him straight, get to the pitch of the ball as quickly as possible was his method of playing him. Such a nice drive, but only as far as mid-off from Rossington. It's just that he was deceived in the flight, and everybody said, yeah, but that was first ball. And I said, well, you look at Donald, he was caught close in first ball. Dawson played a couple of nice sweeps, but he was caught close in. I said he's just decided that even 2 or 3 balls he's going to defend, he might be out. So he decided to go it straight away. At least it was a plan. Might not have worked, but it was a plan. Might work the second innings, you don't know. Here comes Fuller again, bowls to Rossington. Rossington again, pleasant drive up to mid-off. And there is no run. Looks a good player, Adam Rossington, doesn't he?
Yeah, I mean, just say, lost the captaincy in Northamptonshire, and then very quickly after that came the news that he'd signed for Essex on a season-long loan. And you look at Essex, he's keeping wicket. Obviously, they had Wheater at the start of the season before he announced he'd retire at the end of the campaign. They've got Pepper as well, wicketkeeper batter.
Yeah. So I imagine Rossington will stay, will he? Because I noticed a couple of days ago, bounce! That's good bounce from Fuller off short of a length, and Ben Brown's almost knocked back, taking that chest height, just over the shoulder of the bat there of Rossington. Northamptonshire announcing a couple of days ago that Lewis McManus, the Hampshire wicketkeeper, had signed for the rest of the season on loan, and you do start to think that maybe the move, if Lewis McManus wants it, might be permanent, which means there's no place up at Northampton for Rossington, and the only place for him is here.
They've also got Will Buttleman as well, a wicketkeeper batter, who's played a handful of first-class cricket. Who's, could also be available. They've had this a few times now, Essex, where they could end up with a sort of a log jam of wicketkeeper batters, so someone has to go off and find and play their cricket elsewhere. But Rossington at the moment is on loan for the season, and what happens in the winter, very much up in the air. But it's good business, Essex, in the market, obviously. Yeah. Rossington, but notably Crixley, I think, which caught a lot of people unawares, as Dawson around the wicket from this river end is in and bowling to Harmer. It's also that forward press before Dawson released the ball, and it goes into the onside for no run. And there might have been a few, if you want to say bigger counties, it might have been interesting Crixley, but Essex got in there nice and early and nice and quickly. But obviously they'll lose him to the 100 later on this summer. Rossington will go as well, Cook and Lawrence also. As here's Dawson into Harmer, 2 slips in there, and that spins past the outside edge of Simon Harmer's bat.
Did a little too much. Where does Crixley play in the 100 then? Sorry, I've put you on the spot there.
Did Crixley play for the Welsh Dragons last year? I think Welsh Fire. Are they Welsh Fire?
Yeah.
Oh, do you know what?
Let me have a look.
I think he played for the Welsh team. As down the wicket comes Harmer this time and hoiks it and drags it into the onside, but won't pick up a run there as it's stopped by the man at wide mid wicket.
Welsh Fire, you're right.
He is the one, yeah. Oh, blimey, you tested me there.
No, as soon as I said that, I thought that's a bit unfair.
And then Sam Cook's off with the Trent Rockets, and then Lawrence and Rossington with the London Spirit, who had a shocking year last year. Here's Dawson in again, little paddle sweep there from Harmer, and he's going to get 4 runs for it as well. Fine leg was up on the edge of the circle, if you want to call it that. It's wide of him, and he goes down for 4 runs, 139. 4-6, and you mentioned then Harmer would go away with South Africa, and you know he'd be a candidate for the 100 as well.
Oh gosh, yeah. Although he did play T20s here for a little while, did he?
No, not when he first came. No, and then sort of game here, game there, and now he captains the Blast team. Here's Dawson again. Straight to this time, and off the outside edge of Harmer, but all the way along the ground, and fielded at second slip. No run, 139 for 6 of the lead. 214 runs for Essex at the moment. Dawson round the wicket in Dom. Again, Harmer on that forward press. He gets that front foot forward before Dawson releases the ball, goes out to the offside for no run. Dawson 3 for 43 now from his 19, and Essex are 139 for 6.
Yes, rapidly coming towards tea, just over 10 minutes to go. I think we're going to get a little bit of brighter weather just momentarily. And Dawson is getting the odd one to turn a little bit, but the batters seem to be fairly comfortable out there, even though the odd one is beating the outside edge. And Fuller's creating 1 or 2 problems out there with a little bit of extra pace, just finding a bit of extra bounce from that Hayes close end, which we haven't seen for a while.
Yeah, a couple at Rossington's
had
to face, one which struck him on the hand, and then one the previous over he bowled.
Comes in again, bowls to Rossington then, that's a length ball. Rossington gets one that keeps a little low, hits the bottom part of the bat as he looks at it as the ball makes its way out into the covers. So Fuller's bowled quite tightly at the moment into his 4th over, none for 10.
Look at that cloud, it's almost gone completely across now, and away to our right. There's a little circle of blue sky there.
Yeah. Just do this ball and I'll have to disappear. Fuller turns at the top of his mark. Still got Vince in at a wideish first slip. Comes in and bowls. Rossington push drives up to mid-off. He's on the run as he's playing that one, and there is no run.
Off you go then to update the BBC Solent listeners. We have got 3 overs and 4 deliveries to go before we have the tea break. So we're not going to be too far over 3:40, which is, in common parlance, the regulation tea time you sort of become known for in cricket, as Fuller comes in and Rossington just breaks the wrists on that, pushes it into the offside and picks up another single. 140 for 6, 215 runs is the lead. Brings Harmer down onto strike. He's looked good today. He's on 23. He's played quite circumspectly. He's not looked to go out there and bash it to all parts, because he's come in with his side in a very, very strong position, and with a set batsman at the other end as well. He had Adam Rossington, who came in and just changed the flow of the game, and Hampshire have got right on top. Fuller is in and bowling to Harmer. Harmer gets a pull shot right this time, and deep backward square leg. Didn't know where that had gone, and it was past him, and it's gone away for 4 runs, 144 for 6. Well, he's had 5 or 6 goes at that shot now, and he's finally got one right out of the middle of the bat and picks up 4 runs and nicks back.
Yeah, and Essex getting away from Hampshire now, and Hampshire looking for the tea interval. The rain might come first. There's rain on the radar.
Okay.
And it could rain for an hour.
It's interesting because the bulk of the really dark cloud's gone across.
Yeah, they're quite pessimistic according to the radar, but we could well have some rain fairly imminently.
Yeah, the wind looks like it's dropped as well, which is not a good sign. Fuller comes in, and Harmer, let's give him the benefit of the doubt, just rides the bounce, and there's a diving one-handed stop by Vince, prevents it going for 4, but they come through for the single, 145 for 6.
Yeah, lead of 220, and surely that's going to be too many, even if case needs to be proven about the support Harmer was going to get from the other end on the basis of the first innings. Obviously Cook was good at the start, but not so much the other Essex seamers on the limited opportunity we had to see them. and obviously Dan Lawrence was hit at by Kyle Abbott.
There's rain falling now. Fuller's in on the drive. Rossington beats the man at short extra cover, and it races across this parched outfield and goes for 4 runs. 149 for 6, and that is the end of that over. And the rain's just getting a little bit harder.
Yeah, it's just radar.
Umpires just looking skywards.
Radar suggesting that you know, it's going to be around for probably possibly close to 5 o'clock, with a threat of rain for the next hour. And yeah, so it's come on bang on cue, and could be one of those situations we might just get through to tea, and then they might be cautious about starting again.
We had a few drops during the lunch interval, and the ground staff just put the covers on the strip, and the umpires come out and had a look, but there was no problem whatsoever, because I think it lasted sort of 3 or 4 minutes, and that was it. But as you say, Nick, just looking over your shoulder, I was looking at the picture you got on your tablet there, and it didn't look particularly great.
No, 2 good partnerships back to back, both involving Rossington. And here is Dawson to bowl, and Harmer on the drive, gets a single to long on, goes to 29. The 150 is up, and well, 150 for 6 is normally nothing terribly exciting, but with a first innings lead of 75 on this pitch, it should be match winning. And as happened in the first innings, Hampshire finding that the second half of the Essex order getting away from them. This is just played away for possibly 2 by Rossington. He's run the first quickly. Morgan closing in from long on, and can't prevent the second run. But these are very important runs, and Simon Harmer is playing his part, and just taking the target further and further out of Hampshire's reach, because the draw is not really an option for Hampshire. There's still 2 days left in the game. Slip and a short extra, and 4 overs saving 1. Dawson bowls, and this is played defensively into the offside, but a very good contribution from Simon Harmer with the bat, and he wanted to make sure that it wasn't going to be an issue if runs were scored by Hampshire in the second innings, of having to set defensive fields, and that's less likely now because of his partnership. As that's all, Rossington, that pops up slightly, but he just about keeps control of it and plays it up to short extra, and there's no run.
Early tea being taken at the Oval due to drizzle there. Kent 45 for 1. Joe Denley 32 not out, and he came in at the fall of the first wicket. Ben Compton, a rare failure for him.
Well, both these sides will be hoping that Kent find a way of making those 19 wickets last for a couple of days. Clearly it's a flat pitch. 152 for 6, the rain will help, and this is played off the back foot, goes down to backward point, and there's no run. 152 for 6. You feel if Surrey win that, obviously Lancashire playing Gloucestershire, that game will still a long way to go, but clearly Surrey are going to strengthen their lead at the top of the table unless Hampshire find a way of winning this. This is driven away down the ground and nicely caught by James Fuller. And that's a wicket against the run of play, and I think Rossington will be slightly annoyed with himself, just looking at him swishing the bat, looking again to hit down the ground, this time off the outer half, and well taken by Fuller at mid-off, just running round towards extra cover. But 2 damaging partnerships back to back have probably done for Hampshire here. That wicket may have come too late. I think that lead of 227 is surely going to be too much, given the way that Simon Harmer bowled in the first innings. But Rossington, part of both those partnerships, with an Essex best 60, leaves caught by Fuller off Dawson. Liam Dawson strikes again, and Rossington is on his way, and Liam Dawson now has 4 wickets.
He's bowled well, Liam Dawson, bowled really, really well from both ends as well. He started at the Hayes close end, and then he switched them around when Felix Organ came off, but just didn't get quite close enough to the ball there, Rossington, and was just reaching for it, which in the end it was an athletic catch from Fuller in the end, but one which he should be comfortably taking anyway, and it's sort of lobbed up from Rossington. He didn't quite get near and close enough to the ball, and therefore didn't get enough of it. But a wonderful hand played by the Essex wicketkeeper batter, and as you say, his partnership with Nick Brown and then his partnership with Simon Harmer has almost taken Essex to safety. But bearing in mind the ball hasn't done very much since Essex lost their 5th wicket, you do wonder about what it might do. But obviously we have the Simon Harmer factor in there, and it brings to the wicket Shane Snater, the hero of the Essex first innings.
Yes, Hampshire didn't really bat long enough in their innings to really allow us to determine what would happen against the older ball. 35.2 overs, the Hampshire innings. Essex did bat while the ball was older in their first innings, and this is happening again now, and this is working in their favour. Somehow the Hampshire top order have got to... I mean, you look at a figure like 227 as a lead, and you think, well, that's gettable, but as I say, there's going to be a complete sea change to what happened in that first innings.
Well, that was the end of the over. The man who took the catch, Fuller, is in and bowling now to Simon Harmer, who shoulders arms. It goes through to Ben Brown behind the stumps.
Rossington's 60 came off 71 balls with 3 sixes and 3 fours, and actually he slowed down a bit once he got into the 40s, but it was that first 40 played with very positive intent, which was extremely good. Shared in partnerships of 54 with Nick Brown, and then 47 with Simon Harmer, who's still there.
Well, he came in quite early lofted Dawson for a 6 straight back down the ground, and that set the tone for his innings. Fuller is in and bowling to Harmer, squared up with that as he plays defensively up to mid-off, and there's no run.
So tea is due after the end of the next over. Let's say there's rain on the radar, let's say the sun's come out again now. We've got the floodlights on, so we've got all sorts of a mix of weathers at the moment. We're not quite sure what is going to happen, but it wouldn't be a surprise if there was a delayed start after tea. But at the moment, that rain that was falling has just abated a little bit.
BBC Essex, BBC Solent with you via the BBC Sport website and app, bringing you commentary from Chelmsford. Essex against Hampshire. Second afternoon, Essex second innings, 152 for 7. As Fuller is in, and Harmer playing out to the offside, thinks about a single. Calls Shane Snater through, and very comfortably taken it is as well. 153 for 7, so the lead is 228.
And here's the man who's probably played the decisive innings of the match so far. Shane Snater's 71 in the first innings was virtually the difference between the two sides on first innings, and well, certainly Hampshire can't afford a repeat here, but my word, he batted well, and I don't think he'll try too much before tea, but clearly Essex will fancy their chances to put the game further beyond Hampshire's reach if these two can bat together after tea.
Fuller is in again, and Snater opens the face of the bat without moving his feet and works it behind square on the offside, picks up a single. Fuller actually falls over in his follow through there, but he's okay.
I mean, there's still a few what ifs. I mean, obviously Sam Cook to open the bowling, but what impact will Beard and Snater have with the ball? How many overs will they bowl? Who will Wesley look to bowl in tandem with Harmer? Will they just rotate the bowlers to identify somebody who wants to bowl in tandem with Harmer for a while?
Harmer facing up and plays and misses at that one. Good delivery that from Fuller through to Brown. No run, 154 for 7.
One of my themes for the season, it was really brought home at Edgbaston more than anywhere else, was the fact that Essex are going in with 3 seamers, no one in the top 6 who can bowl. Obviously Paul Walter coming into the side has just tempered that slightly, though he hasn't bowled that much for Essex this season. And certainly, by contrast, Hampshire have a lot of seam bowling options, even without Mohammed Abbas. They've got Brad Wheel and, of course, Fuller himself.
And he's in now over the wicket to Harmer, who works that one in front of square on the onside and comes through for a comfortable single again. 155 for 7, 230 is the lead, and that's the end of the over as well. So we've got one more to go before tea, and the rain has stopped.
And the problem at Edgbaston was that it was a pitch that, as usual at Edgbaston, wasn't suited to Simon Harmer at all. So Essex got stuck really with the 3 seamers, and of course here. And to a certain extent at Old Trafford as well, they've been able to rotate the seamers around a very effective Simon Harmer, so it hasn't been too much of a problem. And I think any concerns about the impact of a bowler from the other end, probably a less of a concern now with the league going beyond 200. It's now gone up to 230, which surely is going to be an awful lot to get on a pitch we don't think is going to get easier. So it's not as though Hampshire have that option possibly at their disposal. So Dawson is going to bowl what we think will be the last over before tea. And this is just played defensively forward by Harmer up into the offside, and there's no run. Simon Harmer, who's had a pretty good campaign with the bat. In fact, that really was the been the highlight of the first sort of 5 or 6 games for him, the batting rather than the bowling. But of course the bowling coming much more to the fore now. But the batting still very much there, and he played well in the first innings as well. And this is played defensively back down the pitch, and there is no run.
In the Women's International Test Series, by the way, or match as it is, South Africa women 191 for 6 now. That's a good recovery. They will fall down for barely 40 earlier on.
Here's Dawson again, bowling to the right-handed Harmer with a slip and a gully. And that's just a defensive shot, just leading forward. Harmer has top score of 75. That's one of 2 50s that he's made so far. He's actually managed to get 4 ducks along the way, so when he gets in, he tends to profit. Overall average of 31 at the moment. As I say, Snater, well, we're back in that theme about whether he might become the second leading run scorer again. He's played defensively into the offside. One of our themes yesterday, Glenn, was looking to see whether Snater can actually go into second place in that table. And well, he's back in the running again, because Wesley's not managed to add anything, of course, to his total of 312, having been out for a duck. First baller he got today, and this is played defensively up into the offside, and there's no run. In fact, most of the other people around Wesley haven't got runs today. So Walters on 295, Snater himself on 300. He's in third place at the moment, just 12 behind. But the exception is Nick Brown, who's gone up to 329. So that's the new target to become the second leading run scorer for Snater today, to get 29 runs. That's played defensively up into the offside. Yes, Nick Brown, we should mention, a very important innings, and held things together at the start when wickets were falling at the other end, and that really was a significant effort from him. He shared a good partnership with Adam Rossington that we mentioned, but Essex needed one of their top order to stay in at the start, which is what Brown did, and he got 33 from 98 balls. Cook 16, Wesley no score, Lawrence 12, and Walter 1 and Pepper 1 all went very quickly. But Rossington, the mainstay, 60 from 71 balls, 3 sixes and 3 fours. Harmer is 31 and Snater 1, 155 for 7, and lead 230 at tea.
Thanks for now. So do join us in 20 minutes time for the final session of day 2. We're hoping the weather is going to hold off, but we'll rejoin you in 20 minutes. The covers are just going on here just to allay any fears if the rain does come of the pitch getting soaked in any way, shape or form. Ground staff working very hard here, and we'll head off for a cup of tea, and do rejoin us.
Yeah, sure. It seems to be like a short interval. Yes. She was caught too there. No, I don't know. What was he doing there? Ah, maybe then that makes more sense because I thought it was very early.
My forecast now says mostly sunny.
Was it an inscription of sorts?
I've got that sheet down, haven't they? So.
Well, we've still got pessimistic Essex supporters, Kevin. We need to get 300 metre to put it out of reach. Oh well. Actually, I thought it could have been a surprise declaration. See, that could have really upset me. Standing captain Hansi Cronje set 230. Anyway, maybe it'll carry on raining in London and sorry when I get a draw.
Well, welcome back to Chelmsford. Just about to update the listeners of BBC Essex on the latest here. The ground staff just removing the covers from the strip. It didn't rain during the tea interval, but they did have a protective sheet down as well on the strip, which is 2 over from the one we're using at the moment, ready for the next home game here. So we are going to resume on time. The lights are still on. There's still dark cloud around the ground, but the wind's got up again. So hopefully it's going to blow it across, and the latest forecast we have here is 15 degrees and mostly sunny. If we manage to fall in between all of the showers today, we've been very, very fortunate indeed. Umpires are out there ready to get things going. Just going to update BBC Essex listeners now. I was just about to say, Tom, we've been very fortunate here. We had a little bit of rain at lunch, but that was during the interval here. A little bit of rain during the tea interval here, but we've managed to avoid it during the hours of play so far. The players are just heading back out after tea. I can tell you Essex are going to resume on 155 for 7, which is a lead of 230 runs. Now, they were wobbling at 51 for 5, and Hampshire was sensing a way back into this game, but Adam Rossington and Nick Brown then put on 54 before Brown was out, and Rossington and Simon Harmer then added 47 before Rossington went for a very well constructed 60, which included 3 sixes, and we think that might just have taken this game beyond Hampshire, and with still 2 days and 1 session to go, Essex well and truly in the box seat. They're 155 for 7, they lead by 230 runs.
So it's Brad Wheel to get the evening session underway, and that's a misfield at mid-off straight away from Kyle Abbott. Brings Shane Snater 4 runs and takes the Essex total on to 159 for 7, and the lead is 234. Nick Gledhill's with us.
Yeah, hello Kevin. It's not what Hampshire wanted, getting Shane Snater away. The first ball after tea. Say his 71. The difference really between the sides on first innings. that was a fine drive.
It's Brad Wheel then from that Hayes close end. Length ball, Snater just pushes that out into the covers. I cannot believe we're not going to get any rain at all in the next, I don't know, 5-10 minutes?
No, my radar is saying actually it could well rain in the next few minutes. And rain, it's been saying that for a while, though we just had sort of spots of rain, but clearly there's rain not too far away. And the radar suggesting that there is a heavy shower not that far away from here, which, as I say, we could still find coming our way.
Brad Wheel, right arm over Knowles, and Snater drives up to mid-on, playing almost the same way he did in the first innings. That sort of forceful shot from balls just short of her length.
And, I mean, obviously Essex, I imagine with the amount of time left in the game, will just try and get as many as they can.
Oh gosh, yeah.
But there is a scenario here where a sort of smart Peter captaincy might still put Hampshire in for half an hour tonight.
Here's that Wheel. Snater works that into the gap through the leg side. He plays that shot quite nicely in that arc, and that's going to be 4 runs. It's not quite a half volley, but Snater has that sort of whippy sort of shot that goes in an arc between mid-on and mid-wicket, and he timed that beautifully. 70 of 71 balls in the first innings for Snater. 71 of 72 at Tiller and it looks like he already means business.
Yeah, slightly ominous start to the session from Hampshire's point of view. We don't really want a third 40-stroke-50 partnership in a row, which is what has just happened from that very quite parlous position where Lee was about 125 with 5 wickets left, and had Hampshire broken through there, the whole psychology of the game could have been reversed. But you feel that Rossington's partnerships with Walter and Harmer would be decisive.
Wheel to Snater. Snater drives into the ground over the head of Wheel, and Abbott dives, and this time he gets it. Stops 4 runs, I think, there, although hit into the ground, took a bit of pace off it. Yeah, and Abbott, I think, has hurt his knee.
With Harmer and Brown, I should say. Brown making 33 and Harmer 31 not out, and Rossington out for 60. 2 good partnerships involving Adam Rossington. And interestingly, Keith Barker's only bowled 3 overs, Kyle Abbott's 7. And, well, just a few spots of rain on the window.
Here's Wheel, bowls to Harmer. Harmer guides that away just in front of square on the leg side for a single. The Essex total 165 for 7. Yeah, I think Essex just about won that afternoon session. We said it was a very important one into who was going to get ahead in the game. Essex 110 for 4 in that session. And
umpires, I think, have decided that those spots of rain we were just talking about are sufficiently serious. They're barely visible, but we can see a little bit of rain on the window. And I say, my radar is not particularly optimistic for this session, I have to be honest. And it could be that we do have a little bit of a delay starting to take shape. I was just going to have a quick look at an email that had come in for maybe a sort of a pessimistic Essex supporter or cautious one. It was Edward. Nice to hear from you, Edward. Whilst it feels a strong position for Essex, I have to imagine they would want one more decent partnership to get close to a lead of 300 to feel truly comfortable. Were there perhaps any thoughts on getting Nijar on the side this week to have the ball turning the other way to Harmer in lieu of Critchley? That's quite interesting thought, actually, but he tends not to play championship cricket, Nijar. On the batting front, when you look at the batting lineup on paper, you'd feel fairly confident with the resources available. However, they rarely seem to bat well as a unit, with only 9 batting points so far this season. Even Somerset have 12! Exclamation mark. What is causing these regular collapses? Well, we'll probably look at that when we come back on, because there's going to be a delay, Edward, because of this rain, which is now actually starting to fall quite steadily. So we're probably going to take our leave of you, because this is now the sort of rain that was on our radar as being forecast, and just make a few running repairs in the box to get our electrical equipment under cover. But at the moment, rain has stopped play shortly after tea, with Essex 165 for 7, Harmer 32, Snater 10. The radar suggests we could be off for a while, but as soon as there is any further play, we'll be back with you here at Chelmsford.
Right.
building on that. 165 for 7, a lead of 240. We had a sharp shower, nothing much more than that, but it certainly had us scurrying to get our electrical equipment under cover, and it didn't last for quite as long as the radar suggested it would, and it's been replaced by the most remarkable transformation of the skyline. We now have lots and lots of blue sky with just very wispy high cloud over the ground, some slightly heavier cloud away over the pavilion, but generally conditions look set fair now. One would have thought for the rest of the evening we'll have a delay in terms of the close of play, because only 1 over has been lost, so it means that with 30 overs to go we can anticipate that play will be going on till about 6:30. Not much more than that because of the amount of spin that is being bowled today. Hampshire right up with the required over rate, as you would expect, given the fact that we've seen a lot of spin bowling. So play about to restart, and Shane Snater, threatening a reprise of his first innings, is on 10, and Simon Harmer, who's batted very well, 32 not out, lead of 240. One would have thought has probably already taken the game beyond Hampshire's reach, but Essex in mid-session will be wanting to absolutely make sure of that. And Kevin James is here. Hello, Kevin.
Yeah, it's going to be, gosh, if Hampshire win from here, and that's it, this situation, I think it would be an unbelievable effort. I think Essex most certainly are in the driving seat.
Well, it's almost sort of put the Yorkshire game. You think of the low point of the Yorkshire game when they were, not many wickets down in their first innings. It would be a more remarkable achievement to win that game and this game and that one, wouldn't it? As Dawson bowls, and this is driven away nicely up towards long on for a single, first ball of the resumption. I think Yorkshire was something like mid 300s for 5 at the end of the first day, weren't they? 320 for 5, and to win that game from there was a fine effort from Hampshire, and but this would be an even more remarkable achievement, you feel, in these conditions. 166 for 7.
That's for sure. It's yeah, I think Simon Harmer, I'm sure, is already feeling that there's more than enough there.
So bright sunshine. Dawson with 2 slips waiting in a short extra cover. Bowls to Snater, who'll get runs down towards fine leg. Wait to see if there's any bat involved in that. There's going to be 2. Look for the signal of the umpire, which indicates that they were leg byes. So 2 to the total. But what this does mean is that with these runs since the resumption, Essex have now scored more than in both innings than Hampshire did in their one innings so far, which was 163. And this is driven away past short mid wicket for a single, so the scoreboard rotating straight away, and for the second time in the match Hampshire find themselves bowling with the old ball, whereas that didn't happen in the Hampshire first innings. It didn't last long enough. And that could be a bit of a downside for Hampshire in the context of analysing the game, because batting has looked easier past, say, 25 over mark. Really in all 3 innings, because it looked slightly easier in the Hampshire innings as well. Here's Dawson bowling. That's a beauty. Still plenty in there for him. It brings Harmer forward and beats Harmer outside the off stump. So Harmer will be repaying that particular medicine later on. But I mean, that was a fine delivery from Dawson.
Yeah, we don't see too much of that anymore. I want the wicket to go dead.
Not sure that's likely to happen. But anyway, he bowls, and that's just played calmly by Harmer back down the pitch. So Essex, they can bat for really as long as these 3 wickets survive and get as many runs as they possibly can. Probably wouldn't sort of go much. Well, I think it's a bit of bounce there from Dawson and turn as well, and Harmer leaves it alone. But obviously it depends on how long these 3 wickets last. But if they were to bat till tomorrow lunchtime, they probably feel they've definitely got enough by then anyway, and they might as well start bowling. But that's a long way off. And 169 for 7, 33 to Harmer, and 11 to Snater, and a 3rd consecutive useful partnership starting to take shape.
Yeah, it's these lower order partnerships, haven't they? It's been a real killer for Hampshire. First innings and now here in the second innings as well. I've had Essex struggling really, haven't they? In the first innings, where they were 105 for 7, good recovery there. 51 for 5 in the second innings, and there's been a recovery from that situation. So as much as Harmer's been a problem for Hampshire, so is bowling the lower order Essex out. Fuller will continue from the Hayes close end, bowling to Snater. Snater on the back foot, just turns that to point, fielded by Dawson, and there is no run. It's a beautiful evening sunshine here now in Chelmsford. Too many clouds in the sky. It's a good afternoon to be playing cricket. I'm not sure some of the Hampshire players will agree in this situation, but they've got to fight it out. Fight it out they will, but it's looking a tall order at the moment, 244 behind. Fuller still has this slip in. That's Vince, who's quite wide. Fuller comes in right arm over and bowls. That's kept low to Snater, who's not in a great position to play that anyway. Trying to give himself a little bit of room when he saw it bounce and was nowhere near behind it.
Probably Fuller's done enough to suggest that he might have bowled in the first innings.
It just depends on the situations, doesn't it, really? I mean, when you have a side, as I just mentioned a minute or two ago, when you've got a side at 105 for 7, you think, well, okay, that's probably it, really. I mean, maybe that was the time. But then but well, I say that was the time. That wasn't the time to bring him on. But you know, maybe as the lower half of the Essex order were digging in, well, they weren't digging in. They were playing quite positively. This man's one of them. As Snater pushes that on the onside, I think it's very easy when in the field to think, well, the innings is going to finish shortly. Okay, that's a good shot. Okay, that's gone for 6 over mid on, but he'll get out in a minute. But then you find yourself thinking of that for quite a while. Yeah. And all of a sudden. You suddenly look up and you think, hang on a minute, Essex are in the 200s. It's not easy being a captain at times. As Fuller comes in again, it's a length ball whipped away by Snater behind square on the leg side. They'll pick up a single. Snater moves on to 12, 170 for 7, 245 is the lead now. So, yeah, I mean, 1-2 people have said, you know, Fuller could have come on then and come on this and come on that, but I don't think Hampshire banked on those late order runs.
No. But Hampshire seam bowlers have generally bowled well. I thought there might have been a case for a bit more Barker in this innings.
Yeah.
I think he's only bowled 3.
Yes, and in some ways he probably bowled a little bit too much in the first innings.
Yes.
Length ball, that's a lovely shot. Harmer through the covers. Nobody deep on the front foot. Stroked it through the gap. And that was probably as good a shot as Harmer's played in his innings to date.
Well, he could become the man of, well, he's got 8 wickets and he could even become the highest run scorer of the innings. I mean, Washington got 60, but he's now gone to 33. In fact, checked 37 with that 4. Yeah. And been very impressive innings from Harmer, who was developed as a batsman all the time.
249 the lead now. Still just over 28 overs left in the day. Fuller again then bowls and length ball. Harmer's forward. That's out into the covers, fielded by Gubbins, and that'll be the end of the over. Fuller's completed 6 overs, none for 28.
Yes, it's certainly a theory of mine, but on a decent batting wicket, Essex could go into a game with Harmer at 7 and Snater at 8. A lot of people say, "Oh, that's too risky," and you know, all this and this. But it's a way of, if they wanted to play 4 frontline seamers. It's a way of doing that, and you know, it's. I think they're both good enough to bat at, you know, to one of them potentially become a number 7. It'd probably be Harmer. Snater's certainly an 8, the way he plays. 3 70s, you know, to his name this season. That's very much like a number 8's form, and a pretty decent number 8 as well.
Where do you fit Jamie Porter into that then?
So there you get your extra seamer.
All right.
I'll come back to that. So Dawson bowls. It's just flick around the corner down to backward square leg and it's 174 for 7. It's now Snater on strike to Dawson, and that's just played off the back foot and nicely away. That's chopped away. That could go for 4 down towards the 3rd man boundary, and it's just going to be pulled in, and they're going to come back for a 3rd run. So Essex making a pretty comfortable start in this session. This sort of, we had a brief resumption after tea, but then a sort of 40-minute break because of the extended shower, and Essex have made a positive start. My lead's gone to past 250. It's now 252. So Dawson with 2 slips bowls and played comfortably by Harmer for a single up towards long on. So they're scoring runs pretty comfortably at the moment. And so another partnership taking shape here. Last wicket fell at 152, so these two have already added 25.
They scored 10 runs in that 1 over after tea when they went off.
There's Dawson bowls, and this is attempt to loft the ball down the ground from Snater, and it's a complete miscue, and it rolls out towards long on, and there's no run. Yeah, I mean, it's if obviously they've got Walter, who can play as as a four-seamer, has bowled some overs. But certainly early on in the season, when he wasn't in the side, they just had no one in the top 6 who could bowl seams. They just had 3 frontline seamers, and that was it. As this is played, chipped away, nice looking stroke. Could well be a second run here because mid-wicket's having to run back to complete the fielding. And they do get back for 2, but runs coming suddenly very easily against Dawson, which wasn't the case earlier on, 181 for 7.
Yeah, he's just having a word with Vince, trying to work out to plug that gap on the onside. Yeah. Vince is saying, well, if you want that, you're going to have to take the gully out.
Yeah, 256 is the lead. Slip and a gully still in there as he bowls. This is played defensively by Harmer, but runs coming off most deliveries at the moment, rather ominously from a Hampshire perspective. 181 for 7 with 40 to Harmer and 16 on the board to Snater, and the lead 256. And we've still got 27 overs left today.
Yeah, maybe the intensity is just dropping away a fraction from Hampshire. It was the afternoon session was a big one, really, which Essex added 110 runs between lunch and tea for the loss of 4 wickets. I think Hampshire would have hoped to have done a little better than that. And at tea then, the lead was 230. And you do feel as though that's a little too much. Sunshine's still out. As Fuller gets ready to bowl over number 7 for him. He's going to be bowling to Snater. Comes in right arm over, short. Snater hooks, and it goes over the keeper's head for 4. Genuine top edge as he went for the pull shot there.
Yes, he's not quite been middling them in the same way as he did in the first innings, Snater, but he's rolled along quite happily to 20 yet again from 16 balls, so a similar scoring rate to the first innings.
260 the lead now. This is very, very worrying from a Hampshire point of view, and Essex will feel that they've already got this game won. 185 for 7. As Fuller's into Snater again, bowls. It's a Yorker, and Snater digs that one out, plays it to mid-wicket.
Yes, that issue with the 3 seamers has sort of been partly resolved by the fact that Paul Walter can bowl and has bowled, but you very rarely do see him bowl, and certainly he wouldn't do in this match. But it was one of those more unusual tactical decisions to see a side going in with 3 seamers and no backup at all in a match in April. On that occasion at Edgbaston it certainly didn't work.
Fuller again. Comes into Snater, short. Snater pulls that away, helps it down to fine leg all along the ground. And that's Felix Organ away to our left. Snater moves on to 22 now. 21, sorry. 186 for 7.
But obviously with Harmer very much back in the wicket-taking groove and Dan Lawrence back and not likely to be required by England, you feel if the season was starting now, then Essex would be in with a more than decent chance, but they've got a lot of ground to make up after, well, those 3 draws at Chelmsford really, so if you like 24 missing points.
Fuller to Harmer. The next ball, Harmer works that to mid-wicket.
So used to winning here, Kevin, and it's having 3 draws at the start of the season here has really set them back. They've won 2 away games, so they've been sort of on target, if you like, in terms of the away games, winning 2 out of 3. But it's left them with a lot to do, and of course Surrey have been such tremendous pace setters, and indeed Hampshire this season.
I always said said almost at the start that anybody finishes above Surrey will win the championship. I think that's pretty much on course. As Fuller bowls, length ball, which keeps that fraction low, but forward is Harmer out into the offside, fielded by Gubbins.
Yeah, and it's you feel that Surrey, even now, obviously at the moment they don't have a lot of their top choice players available, but they still are doing pretty comfortably well. So they got Kent 57 for 2 and replied to about 673 for 7 declared. Joe Denley out for 38.
It's Fuller again to Harmer. Length ball, Harmer pushes forward off the bottom of the bat there, didn't bounce much either. Goes out to mid-wicket, end of the over, 186 for 7.
But I suppose the two differences in the game, Snater 71 and Harmer yesterday evening, basically putting the skids under Hampshire, so that the innings, although there was very positive batting this morning, it only lasted 35 overs, didn't it? And they didn't get a chance to really profit against the older ball or put the Essex bowlers at the other end under any sort of concerted long-term pressure. Yes, there were 4 expensive overs from Dan Lawrence, but that was a bit of a sideshow, really. The sort of damage had been done, hadn't it? And in the context of the overall progression of the game. Although Kyle Abbott will view it more positively than that. He was the one that benefited with 3 sixes. I think it was 23 took off that over from Dan Lawrence. Here Dawson bowls, and it's just played off the back foot back down the pitch. Might see Organ bowl again, I guess. He hasn't bowled for a while. Dawson's figures at the moment are 4 for 55 in 23 overs. Another partnership starting to take shape. These two have added 33. Dawson bowls, and it's played respectfully defensively by Snater back down the pitch, and there's no run.
I wonder if he's going to play a big shot in this over.
He certainly has developed as a batsman. In fact, both of these two have. As next delivery is played in the end, not quite where he was intending by Snater. Goes down to backward point, and there's no run. But a little bit of the intensity feels has gone out of the game, because you feel that Essex are already in relatively calm waters in terms of what they need to do.
Even the crowd are quieter.
Yeah, 261 the lead. Dawson bowls, and it's played up towards mid-wicket, and there's no run. So it does look as though, obviously we're monitoring what's happening in the Gloucestershire Lancashire game as well, which is obviously the other game affecting the top end of the table with Lancashire. But this is an attempted sweep. It's the first player missed for a while. We haven't had too many of those. Latest there is that Lancashire going along quite well, 122 for 2, with Keaton Jennings on 76, and Josh Bohannon just out for 34. So they're 215 behind Gloucestershire. At Bristol, Gloucestershire made 337. And this next one is played uppishly and caught at mid-wicket. So really, Hampshire again getting a wicket just when they needed it, but possibly you could say now it's starting to become a little bit too late. But that was nicely done by Ian Holland. He just made sure that he got down to the ground, coincided with the ball landing there, and just kept it above ground level. And so a little chip shot from Snater, who goes for 21, so not 50 short of his heroics in the first innings. So 186 for 7. The end, well, could be nice, but obviously still got Simon Harmer there, and Aaron Beard batted very well in the first innings. But 186 for 8, and Liam Dawson's got 5 wickets, 5 for 55 in 24 overs. Yeah,
first time he's taken 5 wickets this season, in fact quite comfortably as well. In fact, only in a couple of innings has he taken 2. First innings of the Somerset game, first game of the season at the Ageas. Second innings of the Gloucestershire game, also at the Ageas. So comfortably his season's best figures.
That one maybe just stopping a little bit on Snater, played it rather awkwardly, and well caught by Holland. So it's going to be Aaron Beard, who was impressive in the first innings. So anything you feel that Essex get from here is sort of a bonus.
Has been for about 45 minutes an hour.
Yeah, and even during the rain as well.
Yes,
that
was a real bonus.
That, yes. Yeah, you know what I mean. You've got to presume that Surrey are going to find a way of beating Kent in that game, and possibility that Lancashire could overtake Hampshire in second place, depending on what happens in that game at Bristol. Lancashire now going along quite well. Yeah, you feel that it's going to be Surrey's to lose. Over to you.
Yes, Fuller then to Harmer. Harmer length ball, plays that late, guys that down to third man. He moves on to 41, 187 for 8, 262. Now the lead for Essex. And we're kind of just playing out the end of the innings here now, aren't we, really? It's just a matter of as and when. And we may even have a little tricky session tonight for Hampshire.
Well, I was saying that one of the Essex objectives might be to emulate their first innings score, and they're not that short of it. No. And I think you felt that was that would have been far too many anyway. But they're getting up there.
As long as Hampshire don't emulate their innings of last night, as well. Otherwise, that really will be a bit of a nightmare. But that's away in the distance yet. Hopefully, as left-hander Aaron Baird faces Fuller, who's round the wicket now. Length ball. Baird plays that backward at point, fielded by Holland.
I mean, it would be fascinating if Gubbins and Vince could get in together and you know, bat for 20 overs and take it to the older ball and see what happens. But it's a big ask. But that's probably the only hope Hampshire have got. I mean, obviously there's other batting there, but you identify, I think, those two as critical.
Well, I just hope they've taken stock really today, because Harmer this morning, and generally the spinners, apart from the old spell, a few overs, that's a short ball, that's a goodie. See Baird, who just turns his head a little bit as he ducks under that one. You would hope that they would go out there thinking, well, actually, it's not quite as bad as it was last night, and probably adjust their plans accordingly. But we'll have to wait and see when Harmer comes on exactly what happens, because you never know with him.
Even better, I suppose, would be for Organ and Holland to blunt, you know.
Well, I think
see our 15 overs between them. That would be.
I think it's quite an important innings for both of them, actually. If I'm honest, that's a length ball. Baird drives through extra cover, chase on for Barker. I think the ball might just win. It does just, and it's a nice shot. But from Baird, I don't think it was quite out the middle of the bat, but it was close enough. And that 4 takes the lead on to 266, and Essex on to 191 for 8.
So Dick Davis, who was with us yesterday, and myself were both impressed by Prest and Albert. Albert hasn't had much of a hit, actually, since the Hampshire game, for various reasons, other people doing the job. What about Prest has played 4-day cricket, has he?
Not this season, no, just T20. He's playing well in the T20s, actually.
Yeah, so there might come a time for one of those guys to get a go in the red ball.
Yeah, I think it depends on how the loss goes. Ooh, nearly an edge outside the off stump. Vince was already had his hand in his hair before it went through to Brown. But he played a missed, did Aaron Baird. Yeah, I think, listen, I think, you know, 1 or 2 of the selections have been pretty close each game, but, you know, generally, Hampshire have played well in this competition, so you try and...
I can understand why Organ's played in this game, because he took 2 wickets in 2 balls, and even though there's a makeshift quality to feel to the opening partnership, both have contributed with the ball to, in Holland's case, 2 wickets and 3 balls.
But we'll have to wait for the conclusion of the Hampshire second innings before anything can be decided, that's for sure. That's a length ball which is pushed back to the bowler, and he throws it back and it hits Baird, who stares at Fuller. And maybe the umpire might just have a little word at that. I think a little bit of frustration there from Fuller.
Because, you know, other than the fact that Crane is not in form, I think most observers say, well, the only real weakness for Hampshire is the opening partnership. There's no other real area of weakness in the side. I mean, it would be even stronger if Crane was, firing well.
Yeah. Well, on when conditions allow.
Where conditions were appropriate.
Yeah, he wouldn't always get in the side, but yeah, I mean, a game like today probably would have been more of his sort of game. But he's probably. I think the opening batting, the opening partnership's probably the one. I think it's fair to say that would probably draw the most discussions pre-match.
I suppose one thought is whether Fuller can bowl Holland's overs, and that would possibly be a way. I mean, to say it's probably quite a close call as to who is more vulnerable of those two, Organ or Holland. But I suppose if one of them gets 100 in a second innings and the other one gets a duck, we'll know the answer.
Yeah, well, there you are.
It's probably quite a close run thing. 2 slips waiting as Dawson bowls, and that's just played defensively back down the pitch, and there's no run.
I think if one gets 100 and the other gets a duck, Hampshire might actually be close to knocking off the runs. I think anybody that'll get 100 out there, it'll be a great effort. I think they'll be in for the rest of the season.
Yeah, what you call tough runs. particularly against no one's got runs really in the first half of the innings. If you think about it, maybe this is an attempt to chop the ball down towards backward point. By that I mean a significant score. Now Brown and Wesley occupied the crease for without getting 50s in both the Essex innings, and those contributions were really very important given the fact that the newer ball was in play at those times. 191 for 8, and on the sweep it's an appeal for LBW and not out. That's a pretty good shout. Harmer on the sweep. Dawson looking not amused at not getting that decision in his favour. Not out it is. Vincent slip, just making an alteration. Two slips, shortish cover, and off the back foot, which is driven away pleasantly just wide of mid-off for a sharp single. So the score goes to 192 for 8, and the lead 247.
I'm just watching that back on the live feed. That's not too far away, you know.
No, so it was a very confident shout from Dawson. He was disappointed he didn't get that. But certainly proving to be a good day for Harmer. He's able to embellish his wickets increasingly with runs, the way he plays now. And doing that once again. England winning the Test match very comfortably by 7 wickets, and Headingley, and the series 3-0, and South Africa women 247 for 8 at Taunton against England in the women's Test match day 1. 3 men round the bat. Beard facing Dawson, bright sunshine, and Beard just props forward and plays defensively up into the offside. 192 for 8 lead. 2 is like I said, 247. Need to add a few to that because it's 75, of course. You need to add, so it's 267. Here's Dawson again. Bowls. Oh, that one just bounces. Most nicely taken by Brown, but Beard decides with quite an extravagant lead, but he's not going to play a shot at it. And it stays at 192 for 8. So got 42 to Harmer, 4 to Beard, and 23 overs left in the day. So Hampshire could well be batting for some of those overs, because obviously we're not going to have a late finish because of the over rate, but we will because of the half-hour loss to the weather.
Yeah, just bounced out of the rough. That's one from Liam Dawson. Felix Organ, he's going to come on. You're right, Nick. He's going to have.
It's always worth another go.
Yeah, well, it is in this situation. There's nothing much to lose now, that's for sure. 3 for 46 from 12 overs for Felix Organ. Probably that economy rate is a little high on this wicket, but then again the Essex batters have been pretty positive. Maybe Nick Brown, the one that really did sort of knuckle down and try and battle it out. Lasted 98 balls for his 33, 6th out at 105.
Yeah, similar innings to Wesley in terms of crease, and quite important. And it wasn't something that the Hampshire top order were able to emulate, just having one person sticking in there. Gubbins did to a certain extent, but not for long enough from Hampshire's point of view.
Organ was on a hat-trick at one stage before lunch. Hampshire's tails were up, just dropped a fraction, as that's on the line of leg stump, and Harmer quite easy plays that on the onside, no run. So Organ into his 13th over, 3 for 46 from 12, as I mentioned. Dawson, the chief wicket taker in this innings, with 5 for 56. First time he's taken 5 wickets this season comfortably. 2 was the highest before. Not been a lot of turning wickets Hampshire have played on this season. There's a reverse sweep, which Harmer misses, but hits him on the front pad, but he's outside the line.
Not been a lot of turning wickets that anyone's really played on. Even at, I'm not sure Taunton's particularly turned from what I.
No, that was seaming all over the place when we played there. So, go down there for a few years and it turns all over the place. Now all of a sudden it seems all over the place. Down the wicket comes Harmer, drives along the ground up to Barker, who's fielding at the deep mid-on boundary at the Hayes close end. Harmer moves on to 43. 193 for 8. The lead is 268.
And Edward in touch with us on our emails. Are Essex actively looking for an overseas player for the second half of the season? Any names floating around? Is it a case of evaluating the needs when the championship resumes later in the season? Of course, the championship does have quite a good stint in July. Essex playing 3 games and then a break and 4 in September. So it's a question, of course, of when you'd want to deploy that second overseas player with a month off.
I just imagine they're looking up a few phone numbers at the moment as Baird pushes it out square on the offside if they get the result that they think they're going to get here.
Yeah, I mean, such is Harmer's influence. I mean, he would be missing for 2 championship matches. It's just a question of how you replace him. They've got Critchley, of course, with his leg breaks.
Round the wicket, Organ, Baird pushing forward out towards extra cover.
But they had Mark Steckerty, the Australian quick, who didn't find pitches, particularly here, to his liking. The one pitch that might have suited him, Old Trafford, he was unfortunately injured.
I've never really seen him bowl, was he?
It's quick, but yeah, he didn't take a lot of wickets because the pitch is just unlike Brisbane.
Baird's on the back foot, just steers that backward of point. Abbott comes round from point. They'll pick up a single. Going to pick up 2, actually. Kyle Abbott just signals that perhaps he should have kept that down to a single. Baird will move on to 6, and that lead now is 270 with 22 overs left in the day's play.
Yeah, I just get the feeling with Essex that you look at where you might want to recruit an overseas player and what sort of part of the side. I mean, you could say a bowler, but Jamie Porter fit, you then basically have, you know, a Peter Siddle type overseas bowler, Porter, Cook, and Harmer as your attack, which will be pretty good. And there might be an argument for saying you want a top order batsman as well as an overseas, maybe an opener, but of course it could be a short-term signing. Essex have gone down that route before with some success. So it's going to be Dawson to continue with a slip and a gully. Bowls and played by Harmer from the crease up into the offside, and there's no run. And you say, Edward, you think it's quite important, given that Harmer may be obviously involved with South Africa later in the summer. Yeah, I mean, it could be a sort of short-term signing that could be in the offing. And here is an attempted sweep, which sends the ball down towards fine leg for a single. I certainly think if Harmer were available throughout, you know, you can make an argument about someone in the top order, but with Lawrence fit and not likely to play for England, I don't think it's, with Alistair Cook still available, you know, it's not, I wouldn't say it's pressing, but obviously it's that potential absence of Harmer, particularly if Essex are going to try and launch any sort of a challenge towards the top end of the table, that they would want to try and cover. I think it could be a short-term signing.
So you're looking for a top order batter that can bowl spin and
yeah,
can
ideally
turn to quick pace at the same time.
As Dawson bowls, and this is played off the back foot down to deep cover and for a single. We were just musing that you know, if Simon Harmer had sustained COVID in this match, which of course he hasn't, but if he had done, and Essex were looking for a like-for-like replacement, the only person I could think of is probably playing for the Indians at Leicester, and that's be Ravi Ashwin. I can't think of too many like-for-likes for Harmer, because of course Ashwin can bat as well. And this is driven away nicely up towards deep mid-wicket for a single for Harmer, who goes along to 44. But yeah, I'm always amused by this stuff about, you know, replacements, you know, like-for-like replacements in a game. And Dawson, this is played on the bounce by Beard, and there's no run. I was looking for want an opponent to say, oh, you can't replace him with him, because the guy you had in the first place, he wasn't going to get any runs or get any wickets, and the guy you're now putting in, he will. 198 for 8, 273 the lead. As Dawson bowls, this is push forward and just takes Beard on the pad, but Beard settling in again and doing pretty well. So see if Glenn wants to pop in for a while, or is he busy? Glenn is going to pop in for a while, so I'll leave it with you, Kevin. 198 for 6, and we've got Harmer 45, Beard 7, and there's quite a tranquil feel to proceedings with this older ball as Essex just take their lead further and further away from Hampshire. It's 273 at the moment.
Yeah, unfortunately it's not 6, it's 8, so that's a little bit closer to being bowled out, but I don't think it really matters too much at the moment because that is a big, big lead. Even though things are a little quieter, as Nick says, out there, the spinners don't seem to have quite the same effect, but that often happens when a side is well ahead. The spinners don't seem to create the same sort of problems. But I'm sure it'll be certainly different when Hampshire come to bat because they will really start their second innings with their backs to the wall. Here's Organ over the wicket, bowls. That's quietly played into the ground by Simon Harmer. There's no run. Welcome back, Glenn.
So we're in a waiting game now, are we?
We are really, aren't we? Really, we're just knocking off a few runs, aren't we? Really, just to rub it in a little bit and take the game even further away from Hampshire. I just hope we don't turn, and then it'll be a game. That's turned away on the onside by Harmer for a single. 46 he moves on to.
It just all looks very non-threatening, doesn't it?
Yeah, but it's often like that, isn't it? Really, the players out there will know, the situation of the match, and Hampshire will know that, this afternoon was massively important. And when Essex got to tea at 155 for 7 with a 230 run lead, that is virtually getting themselves over the line. I mean, it might not play out the way we think, but Bear cuts that away slightly short there from Organ as he goes out quickly to Fuller, and that's the 200 up for Essex in their second innings. Come up in the 59th over.
Well, at 51 for 5,
Yeah.
that looked very unlikely, and it looked miles away as well. But
It's been such a problem for Hampshire to bowl out Essex. I mean, it looks like they will. The lower order now. There's a hit over the top, and Barker's running backwards, and he's on the rope. It's gone out the ground.
Yeah, that's gone into the tree in someone's garden at the Hayes Close end, just to the right of the retirement apartments. And that's a half century for Simon Harmer as well.
82 balls, 4 sixes, and that 1-6, which he's hit just now. And we're going to require another ball.
Yeah, is that the third of the day?
Pretty close.
I think we needed one when Kyle Abbott actually put one into the gardens, didn't he, at the Hayes Close end earlier, and Adam Rossington hit one over the roof of the writer's box to our left-hand side earlier on in the day too. So we don't have a box of balls here at Chance. We have an attaché case. It's a little attaché case they bring out with the, but it's not some manky old cardboard box in the corner of someone's office.
It's a proper,
yeah,
proper pucker case. I think one year I was here, and I'm sure. I mean, that was to the left of the houses. There's a gap between the flats and the houses, but. Sure, one year, maybe in a T20, it sailed into the houses a bit straighter, and I'm sure a window was broken. But I'm sure you guys have seen that a few times.
Yeah, we used to have a big crack in the window here, in the box here. It got hit once, yeah, that got hit. And next door as well, they had a bit of cardboard over there. A few years ago, a bit of cardboard in the corner of a window at one point, before they found some pennies to replace it.
206 for 8, 281 lead. Here's Organ, and he's wrapped on the pad, trying to force that away on the leg side. That's going down, probably just turned a fraction as well.
Looks like it kept a bit low too as well from Harmer's reactions, and was sort of grovelling and groping for it.
So Harmer's having a good old time of it with the bat, as if he needed it. He's had a brilliant time with the ball so far. He's hogging the game. Here comes Felix Organ. He goes for an ambitious reverse sweep there. The ball beats the leg stump. End of the over. Organ has 14 overs, 3 for 57. The spinners have taken all 8 wickets for Hampshire, but conceded around 112, 115 runs, which I'm afraid is far too many when you think that Harmer had figures in the Hampshire first innings of 8 for 46.
So 82 balls for Simon Harmer's half century, 6 fours and a 6. Batted for him. So he's very when the situation requires, he can get his head down, and he's more than a capable batter on his day. And he'll have a big job to do with the ball as well when we get to that point. So 281 is the lead, 2 wickets to go down, and still 2 days and 20 overs to go.
Allegedly.
Liam Dawson from this river end, forward short leg in, leg slip. Regulation slip as well, where James Vince has been stationed all day. That's short, and Beard steps back to try and cut that one away, but can't get anything on it. And dribbles out to the onside, and there is no run. And Dawson coming over the wicket. cover on the boundary either side. He's in now, outside off stump, and Beard just goes back on his stumps and pushes out to the offside and picks up a single. 207 for 8. The wind just picks up again. Bit more of a build up a cloud away to our right hand side behind the pavilion.
Expecting any more showers?
And mine says mostly sunny, 16 degrees, but then again earlier on it did say it was raining and there was barely a cloud in the sky, so I wouldn't necessarily trust that. Harmer just scoring his mark again, retaking his guard as Dawson comes around the wicket. He's in, and Harmer down the wicket, strikes that one away in the air, and has picked up 4. One bounce, because disappeared under the lip of the Tom Pearce stand away to our right hand side. 1 bounce and 4 runs. Looks like Harmer's decided he's going to have a little dart here and look to push on, and maybe thinking about giving Hampshire a tricky little session. A few overs, handful of overs at the end.
Yeah, I mean they don't have to, but you know, if they score quickly and he has a go, then yeah. But I mean, you know, there's plenty of time left to put this game way out of sight of Hampshire. So even if somebody does bat well, 2 people bat well, still not enough.
286 is the lead, and Harmer works this one into the onside this time, out to the man on the fence at mid wicket, and they come through for the single. 212 for 8.
I think the feature of that boundary, the ball before, was that he was committed to the shot, because he actually wasn't anywhere near the pitch of the ball. Just went through with it anyway. And that probably gives you an indication that the ball really isn't turning much for the spinners now, and if it does, it doesn't look particularly threatening.
Brings Beard back onto strike. He's been relatively circumspect in the way he's gone about things. 9 not out at the moment, change in the field. Silly mid off goes in, which means he has to put the helmet on, put the guard down the front of the trousers, and then settles over his bat. Aaron Beard made 33 in the first innings. Stand with Shane Snater, so important. And no, we're not quite ready yet.
I think Ian Holland wants some shin pads.
He wants some pads, shin pads as well. Which is...
Now Harmer wants a drink.
Yeah, dear me.
How long have you been playing since that rain broke? About 35 minutes?
Yeah. And Nick Gubbins decides to sit down in the square while they have a stoppage here. Yeah, so the shin pads are coming out, so they'll have to be strapped on. Simon Harmer wants to come across for a drink and a towel, which is being run out to him now as well. Dawson throws the ball on the ground. I don't think he's trying to knock it out of shape like Stuart Broad did the other day. That was ridiculous. Did you see Stuart Broad do that?
I didn't.
He'd been complaining about the shape of the ball all morning, and the ball kept passing through the umpire's little tool that he has. And so he bowled the ball at the last ball of his over, Stuart Broad, and then chucked it into the wicket, just slammed it down to the wicket and bounced it into the wicket. Yeah, over later they got a replacement ball and he took a wicket with the second ball of it. And everybody loves Stuart Broad. However, you would kind of think that surely the match referee would look at that and go, actually, you can't do that. Right, everyone's back. Shin pads are on. Simon Harmer's had his drink. And Dawson is coming in and bowling to Aaron Beard. And Beard, on the back foot, just bounces slightly more on him than he was expecting. Plays into the onside for no run. 212 for 8. James Anderson's back in the England squad, incidentally, for the, I say one-off test, but series decider against India. And Sam Billings has been included as well. Dawson in again. Tosses that one up a bit more, and it beats the outside edge of Beard's bat. End of the over. He's got some tidy figures, Dawson. 27 overs, 5 maidens, 5 for 65. He's bowled really well. Essex are 212 for 8. They lead by 287 runs. Yeah,
I think that last ball as well was an indication of how the intensity's gone a little bit, because if that was the afternoon session, or certainly just after lunch, and that ball had beaten the outside edge, there would have been a lot of oohs and ahs and throwing the hands up in the air. That one barely warranted a shrug. So that's where we're at in terms of the state of the game for these two sides. And we've got 19 overs left in the day's play, and there is some dark cloud coming over. Yeah, which looks very similar to the lot that came over earlier, and we lost about 35 minutes of play or so just after tea due to that. And we've got Kyle Abbott back into the attack. 7 overs, 1 maiden, done for 23 for Kyle Abbott. Picked up 3 wickets in the first innings, wicketless so far in the second innings. He's going to be bowling to Simon Harmer. Probably a few short balls at him actually in the afternoon. Comes in and bowls. Oh, he's pulled up in the air, but I think, is Ben Brown going to get there? I don't think he is, not quite. Bounces a good yard or two away from him as he ran towards fine leg. And Fuller, I don't think would have got up in time. I think Ben Brown was the one that decided to go. I think actually, for a top-edge pull shot, I think for Harmer, he probably found exactly the right area between the two fielders. 213 for 8 in the end. Neither of them looked like getting it.
Well, Fuller would have been running onto it, wouldn't he? But I think Brown had pretty much made it clear that he was the one sprinting towards it, and even a full-length dive forward, I don't think would have taken that as.
I think Brown was marginally closer. 213 for 8. Then Harmer's on 58. Brings Baird back on strike. Round the wicket is Abbott from that Hayes close end. Slightly short, bounces a little bit. Baird wants a single as he plays it into the ground. No, says Harmer. Still 3 helmets out there behind Ben Brown. Actually, to my mind, I can't remember how many fielders around the bat there is for Dawson now. Probably 1 at most, I think. But I'll take a closer look next over. Lead is 288 for Essex. In a very, very strong position. As Abbott comes in and bowls. Oh, it's bounced on Baird. He had a little nibble at that one. It's gone through to Ben Brown. So there is still a little bit there for the seamers.
There's 2 or 3 now from that end.
It is, yeah. Abbott seems to find it, isn't it? Abbott seems to have found a spot there from time to time. Definitely bounced from short of a length. Saw a few of those yesterday. Not so much today from the seamers. It's looked pretty flat. Apart from Abbott, I think Abbott's got the most bounce out of that. Saw some overs from Cook this morning. He didn't find the same bounce from that end. Here comes Abbott again. Bowls to Baird. Baird edges just short of Vince, who gets a hand on it at first slip. Taken the pace off it, but has it reached the rope? And it has. Umpire signals 4 runs. There is a gap between Brown and Vince. Vince is quite wide. He's not really for a slip. He's about 1.5, but don't think that carried.
No, it didn't. It was just in front of him, which made it even harder for him to stop. As you're saying, he may have got fingertips on it, but it has trundled over the rope for 4 runs.
Yeah, Vince is trying to pick it up on the half volley. Just got it on the ends of the fingers. Baird moves on to 13. 217 for 8. 292 the lead. As Abbott comes in again, Sun just disappears as Baird's in behind that one. Abbott just kicks that one away. Baird wants a single actually, but he kicks it away, but not from very far. I'll do this ball, then I'll have to disappear.
I keep thinking it's time to get up and get my children out of bed.
I know. I'm sorry. It's actually not very it's not very professional, but I just found myself at times missing updates, and I thought, well, it's the best thing to do.
Therefore, it is professional.
Well, it is, but
to ensure that you're.
It is from that point of view, but not from. It's not a great listen, let's be honest. Unless you want to get up at 5:29 in the afternoon, then it's a great listen. As that's pushed out on the offside, and there's no run. I'll leave you with Glenn. And Nick's going to come in alongside, I think.
Thank you, Kevin. Disappeared off to update those listeners in the south of the country, BBC Solent. The weather forecast for tomorrow, cloudy, a little bit of sunshine around, but it all looks okay. And Wednesday just looks cloudy at the moment. 50% chance of rain on Thursday, which A, doesn't matter because we won't be playing cricket, and B, 50% means it'll either rain or it won't rain. I think it's a bit of a cop-out, to be perfectly honest with you. More cloud cover just beginning to move in. The wind gets up a little bit as well. Actually, from that stoppage we had earlier on, they've actually only taken 1 over from the day in 6:30. We thought might be the time that things are called to a halt, but we've only got 18 overs left in the day now, so it might be slightly after. Liam Dawson starts another over from the river end, is in and bowling to Harmer. Harmer has a swing and a miss at that one. Under the bat it goes, taken by Ben Brown, standing up. Still stationing the 1 slip in, our Hampshire here. Cover on either side, on the boundaries, on the cover and the mid-wicket boundaries. Long on is out, mid-off is halfway out. Dawson around the wicket to Harmer, gets an inside edge on that one. Goes down to the man at short fine leg. And there is no run, 217 for 8. So the lead is 292 runs. So Essex eking up towards that 300 mark. Here is Dawson once again, and And Harmer plays defensively. Oh no, there's a long way down the pitch here. Is Aaron Beard going to have to get back? The throw comes in. I think he'd have been home. Full length dive. The throw missed in any event, but Harmer wasn't interested at all. But Beard had gone herring down the strip and was very quickly sent back, and showed some nimble footwork to turn and get back into his mark. And Dawson has ball back in hand. And Gubbins it was with the throw, which missed in any event. And Dawson in. Harmer takes a couple of steps down the pitch. Dawson just drops his length a bit, and Harmer has to play defensively back out to the offside. 217 for 8, so 292. So Hampshire would have to make by far the biggest score of the match to win the game. Dawson in again, and Harmer just plays forward. And Gubbins picks up once again, and there is no run. The cloud continues to roll in, and it looks like there might be a fair bit of rain in there, although my forecast continues to say mostly sunny. Here's Dawson rounding off this over. In, and a shout for LBW. Harmer tries to turn that one around the corner, which tells you the direction of the ball, and they come through for a leg by, and he has the strike at the end of the over. 218 for 8, and the lead is 293 runs for Essex. And Nick's back with us.
Yeah, no rain on my radar, so that suggests we might get through for the remaining 17 overs, but the game's in a bit of a lull as Essex just try and eke out as many runs as they can. I said I thought they might have in mind emulating their first innings score, which is 238, and that would give them a lead comfortably over 300. And say it's not totally beyond the bounds of possibility that they might put Hampshire in for 6 overs tonight, but more likely, I suppose, they bat through to the end and maybe extend things for half an hour tomorrow if they can. It's remarkable what a day Simon Harmer's had with 8 wickets, 8 for 46, and here he is probably about to become top score. It's quite some day. So here is Abbott to bowl to him, and he just covers up and plays defensively up to mid-off, and there's no run. We had an email, Glenn, from Evan a short while ago about possible short, maybe overseas signings, but Mark Steckerty was here for the first few weeks of the season, wasn't he? Simon Harmer potentially could be away for a couple of championship matches. I would have thought that there's basically 3 games in July and 4 games in September, so it's hard to get someone to cover. There's a big gap in the middle, if you like, where there's no championship cricket as Abbott bowls, and that one just bounces a bit, and Harmer plays it down to the ground. They've got the fact that Critchley, of course, can sort of play a more senior role as a spinner, as he did in the first game actually when Harmer wasn't available. But I would have thought any overseas signing they did make would be a sort of like a short-term Mooley Vijay type, and whether they'd look for a bowler or perhaps a top-order batsman.
Yeah, and also you've got to look at budgets as well, and whether that's good use of money at that stage of the season, as you say, with that gap.
I mean, one thing that could come into play, as this is a play by Harmer up towards deep cover for a single. If they were to win this game on the next 3, including Surrey at the Oval, because I honestly think they probably have to go on a winning streak that includes that Surrey game, and they suddenly find they're about 10-15 points off the pace with a game in hand, that's when they might think about whether it can be justified. Whereas if they're still 50 odd points off the pace, there's probably not too much to justify it.
Marizanne Capps made the highest ever score by a South African woman in Test cricket.
One left alone by Beard, who's batted very well in both innings, and this has been an encouraging feature for Essex in this game, the performance of the bowlers with the bat. In fact, both Snater and Beard arguably have outperformed sort of their main performances with the bat rather than the ball in this game.
She's 145 not out, but she's also the highest score for a women's Test batter, number 6 as well. So the records have been falling down at Taunton. South Africa 271 for 8 against England. Remember, they were 45 for 4 earlier on in the day, so they've come back really well into that game. And South Africa getting up alongside the likes of Australia and England in the women's game. 2
slips waiting, and Beard slices the drive past the bowler Abbott, and it goes up to mid-on. They scamper through for a single. So 219 for 8, lead of 294. As I say, a little bit of a sort of almost as if pause before the real action with the Hampshire second innings. And it's a strange game to think about this, and Essex have been batting for all but 35 overs of the game. such was the brevity of the Hampshire first innings, and of course it almost felt even shorter because there was a part of it yesterday evening and a part of it this morning. So it in total lasted 35 overs and 2 balls. 220 for 8 as Abbott bowls, and Harmer just covers up and plays defensively into the offside. And the benefit of batting through to the older ball, Essex have demonstrated twice, because the Essex first innings, if we look back at that, it lasted 71 overs and 5 balls, so they're on course for something similar to that, which means they're using up old ball overs, and that's obviously means the benefit of Essex. But 220 for 8, 59 for Harmer, 14 to Beard. My hunch, Glenn, is that Surrey are going to take an awful lot of stopping, even when they're getting all these runs with senior players missing. It's probably, even with a game in hand, the 51-point gap is probably too much to make up at this stage of the season.
Yeah, they've. You always feel the horse has bolted as far as Surrey.
They'll certainly have to win at the Oval, beat Gloucestershire and then win at the Oval, and then see where they are.
Here's Dawson then from the River End, in and bowling to Beard, pushes up to the man at silly mid-off, and there's no run. Gloucestershire 337 all out against Lancashire at Bristol. Lancashire 152 for 2 in reply. Keaton Jennings 88 not out. Well, England might be looking around for an opener to bat with Alex Lees, he says. That's assuming they decide to look elsewhere than Zach Crawley. He's had a rough spell. Dawson in once again, and defensively pushed out by Beard. Nicely judged single there as well. Man at silly mid-off couldn't stop it. Northamptonshire, well, 451 all out. They were 420 for 6 at the resumption today, so 451 all out. And Warwickshire 25 without loss. And as Nick was just mentioning, Surrey there, 673 for 7 declared, 4 Centurions. Kenton 91 for 2. They lost Ben Compton quite early. Joe Denley made 38 from 35 balls before he was also dismissed at the Oval, where they've had a couple of interruptions for rain. Dawson around the wicket this time to Harmer, who cuts off the back foot in front of square. Barker goes herring around the perimeter and makes a sliding stop, not before they've completed a couple of runs. 223 for 8. The lead goes up to 298 runs. In Division 2, Nottinghamshire eventually 551 for 8 declared. And speaking of openers, Haseem Hameed made 101 there. Middlesex 45 for 3 as in comes Dawson and bowls Simon Harmer, who comes charging down the wicket and is bowled leg stump. And Harmer has gone, and the score 223 for 9. So the lead is 298 runs for Essex, with 1 more wicket to go down.
There's half a case for a declaration here, but it's something that could be done. But Simon Harmer eventually just playing around one really, and ending a very good innings, and he's managed to achieve the distinction of taking 8 for 46 and then top scoring in the second innings. So I think he was probably man of the day material as far as Essex are concerned. And it was a fine innings. I mean, he's just going from strength to strength. And as I say, I'm convinced that in anything other than the worst batting conditions, that if Essex really wanted to, they could have Harmer 7 and Snater 8 as a way of getting an extra bowler into the side if they ever felt they needed to do that, because those two have got the ability to bat probably slightly higher in the order than one place higher than they normally come in. But anyway, 71 to Snater in the first innings. He got 21 this time, and Harmer, who batted usefully in the first innings, gets 61 to add to Rossington's 60. And this middle order engine room of Rossington and Harmer, that's really, you feel, done for Hampshire here. Those two contributions, 60 and 61. But it's going to be Sam Cook to come in.
Yeah, and Dawson's 6th wicket of the innings as well, so well bowled to him. In Division 2, Sussex 119 for 2, replying to Derbyshire's 551 for 8 declared. And Worcestershire 93 for 2 in their second innings. They lead Glamorgan by 225 runs with 8 second innings wickets intact at New Road. So Dawson has his 6th, and he's in to bowl to Sam Cook now. They put in 2 slips for the Essex number 11. And he's in, and Cook has edged through to Brown, and the Essex innings is over. 223 all out, so Hampshire will require to win this game 299, and Simon Harmer took 8 in for Essex in Hampshire's first innings, and Liam Dawson has taken 7 in Essex's second innings. Well bowled the spinners here, and now the game really is on. See whether Hampshire can get this 299 or whether Essex can wheedle out these 10 Hampshire wickets. We've still got a few overs still to go in the day, Nick. Obviously we'll lose a couple during the interval, but
well, they might as well have declared as another suggest. Only lasted one more ball, so Sam Cook not quite able to join the rest of the bowlers in terms of making a significant contribution, but well done Liam Dawson. I mean, that's an absolutely fine effort, isn't it? And not finding it as easy as Simon Harmer did yesterday, but he had to work for those wickets. But a 7 for, and Kevin might be able to fill us in on performances when he comes back. Performances for Dawson in his career. I was going to see what information I can find at this stage in terms of performances in first class cricket. His best is 8 for 100, and his best was 7 for 51. So I shall look up to see who that was against. But Liam Dawson, certainly an absolutely terrific contribution, probably in a losing cause, but an absolutely terrific contribution from Liam Dawson for Hampshire. And well, not all the wickets. Actually, just thinking about it, did all 10 fall to spin in the end?
literally what I was about to look at. Did Organ get 3? I think he did. Yeah,
so we've now had nobody go to seam since Ian Holland was out to Sam Cook. So it tells you the direction this game is going in terms of who's more likely to take the wicket. So 299 the target, and as I say, Liam Dawson, of course, long-term servant of Hampshire, and his that was in a match. Well, it would have been in Zimbabwe actually. That's 7 for 51. So I'll see if I can find his Hampshire best. This may well be it in terms of wickets. Pretty sure it will be, because that was either South Africa. I'm not quite sure who Mountaineers or where Mountaineers are, but and he actually scored 110. Not out in that match. He got 7 for 51 in. But I suspect that's going to be a Hampshire best in terms of wickets. So we'll get that confirmed for you, but well done to Liam Dawson.
So that does now mean, incidentally, that 18 wickets have fallen since a seamer last took one.
Yep. That's right.
That's since Sam Cook opened up with a couple of wickets right at the top of that Hampshire innings. Harmer then took 8 on the bounce, and then we've got 7 for Dawson, 3 for Organ, so 18 in a row to spin.
Yeah, and quite remarkable to say. It shows you who the dominant force has been spinning this match, and that hasn't changed at all. So Liam Dawson, a tremendous performance from him, but the question is going to be, can Hampshire get through this period at the end of the day with a target of 299?
Just on that Dawson wicket, by the way, for Cook, it bounced and spun. I'm not 100% sure that Hampshire's batters will be delighted to have seen the ball react that way. Just looking away to our right, we've got big cloud directly above the pavilion. There are lighter skies behind it. Hopefully it can blow over. And we've got 13 overs minimum remaining in the day. We're at what? Just a smidgen before a 5:45 on this Monday evening. In fact, it's smack on 5:45 now. Bonus points, incidentally, Essex 4, Hampshire 3 from the game thus far, plus whatever they add on for whoever gets the win in this match.
So it was more or less what Essex wanted in terms of the way this innings went. They were looking, I think, to get something close to their first innings score. They did that, and to say, after a stuttering start against the newer ball for the 3rd time in this game, the side batting against the new ball struggled. Basically, we had a terrific revival from 51 for 5 with partnerships involving Adam Rossington. First with Nick Brown, the pair putting on 54 before Brown was out for 33, and then with Simon Harmer before Rossington was out at 152, that pair having put on 47. And then another partnership, about a couple more partnerships to frustrate Hampshire. There was 33 then for the next wicket. Again, Snater was out at 8,186, and then a further 37 for the 9th wicket. So all the way along the line, there were partnerships in that lower half of the innings from 51 for 5, and that's what's hurt Hampshire here and left them well, with a very daunting target.
Right, well, I shall leave you, and Kevin will come back in. Liam Dawson, apparently that could be career best. Could be his first 10 for in a match, but may have a look at that in a little while. But Kevin's going to come in alongside Nick to finish off the day. At minimum of 13 to go.
I'm pretty confident it's a Hampshire best, but certainly that match that we're referring to, that was for the Mountaineers. That would have been a first-class game, but obviously not played in England. But give you any information we get on that, but that was way back as well, to 2011-12 he did that. Shows how long he's been around, but can't remember, and Kevin might be able to, any huge wicket hauls for Liam Dawson of that sort of extent. Often in these books they list what the best wicket haul is for the county that they're playing for, so just having a look to see if we can get anything out of that. But I would imagine that may well be certainly an Essex best or championship best for Liam Dawson, and as I say, thoroughly well merited. Initially bowling from the Hayes Close end, then switched to the River end. Yeah, I think we'll see what other additional information we can give you, but some fact really that you've got a wicket haul of 8 for one spinner and 7 for another in the same game, and say 18 wickets have gone down since we had a wicket fall to Seam, and actually Sam Cook will be a good bet to be the next man to take a wicket with Seam, because he is going to doubtless open the bowling in a short while. At the moment we've got Shane Snater out there just doing some bowling practice, and frustratingly for the coach, he's just bowled one that's gone through the gloves and has to be collected from the boundary at the far end of the ground. So Dawson finishing up with Simon Harmer for 61, and then Sam Cook caught first ball, finishing with 7 for 68. And yeah, it's I say almost certainly going to be too much. It's one of those things where if Hampshire were to win this game from here, I mean, they say winning the Yorkshire game was quite some achievement, given the fact that Yorkshire got more than 400. If they were to win this game from here, then you really feel that 1973 could be on again, because it would be quite something. But it's going to need. The key thing is, Kevin, they've got to bat long enough to get into that older ball, and that's what they couldn't do in the first innings.
Yeah, I mean, listen, while you're batting, you've got a chance. That's for sure. You ain't, Hampshire aren't going to win it by being bowled out in the pavilion, but it's a very, very small chance that Hampshire can win this. But I mean, listen, we games are won from these situations, and while you're batting, you've always got that chance. But for me, what Simon Harmer does or doesn't do in his first few overs tonight, I mean, fortunately, we're almost in the same situation we had last night, where even if he does get on a roll and does find some spin and bounce, that Hampshire aren't going to have to face 2 or 3 sessions of it. We can regroup and come back in the morning, because this morning he definitely didn't get quite as much.
No.
So there's that. So even if he does start to look unplayable like he did this time last night, then Hampshire haven't got to face too many overs of him, fortunately. So you always have to look for these little things. As a batting side, you've got to find little reasons for this, little reasons for that.
Could be tired. He's just made 61. He's only had 1 ball off.
he's just rubbing it in with the bat as well, isn't he?
Yeah,
really.
Absolutely. Just making sure that he had 1 more attacking fielder for every 20 runs he got. I guess that's but no, he is. It's been something of a magician on these surfaces for Essex, and obviously less so when he's gone away from home and when counties have understandably prepared pitches to try and negate his threat. But even then he's sometimes managed to overcome that. And as I say, he's further embellished his credentials with the bat really in this innings. In fact, he had a pretty good game all round with the bat. His first innings runs were quite important as well, averaging 30 for the season, and that was his third 50. And yeah, that's a pretty solid effort all told. And Essex will be pleased at Adam Rossington's contribution as well, which was actually the start of the fight back in this innings when Rossington came in and played positively with Nick Brown, just when Essex were really losing their way, and there was just a chance that Hampshire might be left with a target of well under 200, which would have been pretty interesting if they were able to make a good start. So still got 13 overs left in the day, and 2 umpires making their way out, as are the Essex fielders, and Organ and coming out there with Ian Holland. So both contributed in the wickets column in the match. Holland in the first innings and Organ in the second, but I guess as opening batsmen their primary role here is to try and see out as much of these 13 overs as they possibly can. And it is a strange feel to this game. I was mentioning it to Glenn, Kevin, the fact that Essex has been batting for all but 35 overs of it. It's just the Essex Hampshire fielders must have been feeling quite weary towards the end of that, and understand that they were, not quite as spontaneous with their, geeing each other up in the field.
Well, quite understandable, isn't it? Really, I mean, the afternoon session was massive.
Yes.
It really was, and Essex just about won that really. And then from then on, you're in the field knowing that, gosh, you've got to bat unbelievably well to win a game. So it is a little bit deflating. I think I'm probably looking at the same list as you as regards Liam Dawson's wickets for Hampshire. He took 5 wickets in a game against Nottinghamshire last year. But I think you're probably right. I think this is his highest analysis for Hampshire.
Yeah.
He did. You're right. He did take a 7-fer.
It's going to be Cook. It's going to come into bowl to Felix Organ with 3 slips, and that's left alone outside the off stump. And who is going to open the bowling with Sam Cook? Now that's an interesting question. Could it be Simon Harmer from the outset? It wouldn't surprise me at all.
I think if Essex were only 150, 160 ahead, I think he probably would have done. I think they could probably afford, because I don't think he'd particularly want to bowl a brand new ball.
No. Perhaps it'll be the 8th over again, as it was last time. His Cook again bowls, and Organ just goes onto the back foot and traps that back to Cook. Yep. So we feel we were back into the main body of the action now, after perhaps a period where cricket lost a little bit of intensity as Essex just sort of eked out that lead and made it bigger and bigger. And now really are into a crucial session of play. And once again, Hampshire having to start in the evening and then return in the morning, but they've got to make sure that they've got rather more than 4 wickets in hand tomorrow morning. Here's Cook up to the wicket from the Hayes close end, bowls, and Organ will take a single. He'll take it just wide of mid-wicket, and Walter will run round and complete the work. Both these sides will be hoping that Kent can somehow bat through tomorrow. If they do that, they'll probably be quite close to avoiding the follow-on. 108 for 2, little Kent latest, Bell Drummond 35, Jack Leading, who put Surrey in 19. So you could say that if he gets a double 100, he's probably about even for the match. Strange decision that, perhaps a slightly defensive one. 1 for no wicket. 3 slips waiting, 5 saving 1, and a fine leg. And here is Ian Holland playing off the back foot into the offside, and the ball rolls up to Aaron Beard. And there is no run. So 299 the target, and well, it's an awful long way off, of course, but it would give Hampshire a bit of confidence if these two were still there at the close, put it that way.
Yeah, they've played Simon Harmer well.
Yeah. There's Cook up to the wicket, bowls, and Holland tries to play a flowing drive here, but it's in the end not timed and rolls out to mid-off, and it's the end of, almost the end of Cook's over. He's got a ball to go. Yeah, just a 1 single off. He's got 1 more ball to go.
The good news is that Dave Allen, Hampshire's honorary archivist, is listening. Correct, Dave. He always comes to my rescue. Says at Silent Sport, definitely Liam's best for Hampshire.
Yeah, it would. I think Playfair probably would have mentioned it if he got something, you know, of that haul for Hampshire, and it don't mention it. So this is played, kept low and played well by Holland up towards mid-on. That is the end of the first over, bowled by Sam Cook. So Holland no score and Organ 1, and Hampshire have got one of the 299 runs that they require. They have, of course, 2 days and 12 overs in which to get the runs. And as I say, if the game is still going this time tomorrow, it means they'll have done pretty well, I suspect.
Dave Allen goes on to say that, yeah, the previous best of his was 7 for 51 in Zimbabwe.
Yeah, thanks for trying to work out where that was, Dave, so thank you, yes. Zimbabwe.
And has only had 5 firsts for Hampshire previously, and also first time 10 in the match for anyone. What's that bit? Also 10.
Well, he did make, worth mentioning, I just mentioned a moment ago that when he did get that 7 wickets in Zimbabwe, he got 100 in the same game. So.
Yeah. So first time he's taken 10 wickets in a game.
Now look what's happened.
Oh, he is going to bowl with a new ball. Oh, there you go. He probably wants to wrap it up tonight. He probably thinks after scoring runs as well, he thinks he can do anything, which he probably can. Here he is then, bowling to Organ, who's well forward. There are those 2 men around the bat there, at leg slip and at short leg. Organ pushing that out confidently on the offside. He's going to have to do that a few times.
Theoretically, we might not see anybody else bowl tonight. Could be just Cook and and Harmer.
He's got a slip in as well, Harmer. Comes in and bowls, and that's turned, gone down the leg side. Well taken by Rossington. I think he's kept pretty well to Harmer. Not easy, because Harmer does get the most turn.
Yes, he'll been aware of the Harmer factor when he signed up for Essex.
It's probably in his contract.
Yeah.
You will keep well against Harmer. Organ plays that away on the onside. Now there again we see the fielder saving 1, so even if you do get on top of the bounce and nudge it past those 2 close in fielders, you don't get that easy let off single because the fielder's up saving 1. Here's Harmer again. There's the arm ball. Organ's in behind that one, plays that into the ground.
The job of these two is just to see it, well, for me, to see out as many overs as possible to give Hampshire a chance of getting into that older ball.
Yeah,
but it's not going to be easy, as you say.
No. Harmer again, bowls, flighted. Oh, that's cut him in half. He's cut him in half. He was trying to work that away on the offside, and the ball's gone between the bat and his body and bounced way over the top of the stumps.
There's a bit of bounce there for Harmer with the new ball, all right.
Where does he get that bounce from? Unbelievable. Here he comes again and bowls. Organ comes down the wicket and just pushes that out, not convincingly out on the onside. And well, I think we've seen enough in that over from Simon Harmer to, if you're a Hampshire fan, just worry a little bit more than normal.
Yeah, Organ, just for a moment, thought he might be stranded in no man's land there as he was going down the pitch to that last one, but managed to get it off the middle of the bat. But Hampshire just need to, I think, try and exude calm out there, and as much as they possibly can, and just aim to try and tick these overs off. So it's going to be Cook from the Hayes close end. 299 is the target. He bowls to Holland, and Holland just again traps that one down into the crease. Thought Nick Gubbins played really well in his short innings yesterday, but he's going to have to play really well in the long innings probably this time.
Well, you've got 2 and a bit days to bat.
Yeah, look absolutely a man in form. It wouldn't half help Hampshire's cause if he doesn't have to come in for 15 overs. 1 for no wicket as Cook bowls, and this is again just played by Holland stoically, head over the ball up towards cover. There's Beard. He may or may not bowl today. I would say the odds are probably against it.
I'll tell you what, if I was out there, I'd hope he would bowl tonight.
I don't think Cook will. I mean, Cook's settled into a typical Cook new ball spell, giving very little away. He'd like 1 or 2 to beat the bat, I think, Cook here, but so far Holland, who's mainly been facing him, has dealt pretty well. 3 slips waiting. There's Cook up to the wicket bowls, and this is played quite nicely by Holland up towards his opposite number 22, and that's Paul Walter at mid-wicket, and there is no run. So I say both these sides will be hoping that Kent can keep going against Surrey. Respectable start, 111 for 2, facing 673 for 7 declared. As Cook bowls again, and they're always one that does beat him. That just a little bit back of a length and pitches and leaves him outside the off stump. So nice piece of bowling from Sam Cook, who keeps getting better and better. And as we've talked about the sort of queue of bowlers trying to get into the England reckoning. But if there were more sort of genuine A-team fixtures, England A against Taurus or whatever, I think that would help Cook, because give him more of a chance to perform on a bigger stage, if you like, as this one is played by Holland just into the onside, and there's no run, but already this season 23 wickets to his name with an average of 18, and economy rate spot on 2 and over, and that's a good sign. It means he gives away very, very little indeed. And if we compare that to last year, well, the average was even better. He's averaging at the moment 18 per wicket. Last year it was 14.4 for his 58 wickets over the season. And here Holland on the drive sent it on the bounce to Cook, and there is no run. But so far, 1 for no wicket. 3 largely quiet overs. The maiden for Cook. The target is 299, so just one of those has been scored so far, and Simon Harmer's not been hit out of the attack. He's going to continue from the river end.
Yeah, just one thing about Cook. I think he looks stronger as a person. He just, I always remember him as being just this little seamer, really. I mean, I don't mean that disparagingly. I just meant, sort of rocking up and bowling, and he just looks stronger and fitter. Here's Harmer bowls, and he's gone for the slog sweep there, Organ. He's over the head of Snater, who's quite deep there at mid-wicket. And has that gone all the way? It has. Well, there you go. It's just...
Organ hits the new ball bowler for 6 in the 4th over.
Slog sweep over mid-wicket. Well, I think there's no doubt how Organ's going to play it. But again, I think in that first over from Harmer, there was bounce. So you've got to find a way. Gets wrapped on the pad. Too much bounce there, though. I saw an amazing stat, actually. Just go through on the Twitter feed. It's the County Championship Twitter feed here. Simon Harbour's monopoly ends, it says as a heading. Here's Harmer. Bowls down the wicket. Gets wrapped on the pad. Liam Dawson's taken 7 for 68. It's the first time a spinner, other than Harmer, has taken 5 wickets at Chelmsford in 2,955 days.
How many years is that? That would make
well,
it
I was going to
easier.
say, that was my next question. There's the arm ball, and Organ just from the outside leg stump pushes that towards mid-wicket, and there is no run. I think we're going to have a little bit of fun here with Felix Organ batting against Harmer, who's scored 7, all 7 of Hampshire's second innings runs so far. They only need 292 from here. Here comes Harmer again, and there's a slog sweep, which goes behind square this time along the ground. 8 years. There we go. Thank you very much, Glenn.
Question is, who was it? Yeah, who was it?
First time a spinner other than Harmer here has taken 5 wickets. That's quite incredible, isn't it? That's a great stat. Brilliant stat. There's Harmer around the wicket, and he lets that hit him on the pad there, Organ, as that was going way down the leg side. So an eventful over, and I think there'll be a few more of those before the close of play. We've got 9, not necessarily from the Hayes close end, more from this end. And 7 without loss, Hampshire, 292 needed.
Yeah, that is a very interesting stat, isn't it? And so it must be somewhere in 2014 that somebody got a haul. I might try and have a little look at that when I'm off air, but it's quite a rarity. It's normally Harmer who hogs the headlines. He certainly has today, top score, and 8 for 46.
Well, I think what that also shows is just how much more he gets out of this track than anybody else.
Yep, 7 without loss. And Cook bowls. Oh, it's a loose shot from Holland. It really is. It's the back of a length ball. He's trying to crash it through the covers. He's very fortunate not to get an edge there. That really was just a bit of a throw of the bat at that one. And a little bit fortunate. 7 for no wicket. So earlier, well, Essex almost emulated their first innings. Actually, there was 15 short. 223, having made 238 first time round. 60s for Rossington and Harmer. And they started with this first innings lead of 75, so they've left Hampshire needing 299 to win, of which they've scored 7 for no wicket. And we're in the 5th over, being bowled by Sam Cook from the Hayes close end, who bowls to Ian Holland, who just props forward and steers it away to Michael Pepper, who would like to have something go his way in this game because it's not been much fun for him. I think it's a 0 and a 1 in the end for Michael Pepper.
He had his time against Hampshire in the T20.
He did. I mean, he played brilliantly on Friday night as well.
Smashed us to all parts.
Yeah. But, so it's a bit of a downer for him after a superb display on Friday evening in the T20 against Surrey. 7 for no wickets, and here's Holland on the drive, sending it to mid-off, and there is no run. So at the moment, no early alarms for Hampshire, but obviously Essex will know they've got quite a few runs to play with here. So it would have been a fascinating sort of what-if game on a couple of instances. Gareth Batty, thank you very much. Gareth Batty.
Whoa.
Worcestershire or Surrey? I wonder when probably Surrey. Yeah. Thank you very much for that, Glenn.
Thank you.
And Sam Cook bowls, and on the drive, that's better from Holland, but it hasn't got it. Well, hasn't got it totally past mid-off because Tom Westley's a bit of a misfield, and what could have been 1 becomes 2. So it means that Holland takes 2, gets off the mark. It's 9 for no wicket. Earlier, England, well, you just feel that New Zealand, if there was a towel to throw in, they could almost have thrown it in, really, because England already were in an imposing situation at the start of the day. There was a rain delay, but England 296 for 3, winning by 7 wickets and getting the runs very quickly today. Cook bowls, and Holland with a good use of the hands. Well, it's almost another misfield there, but they don't attempt to run this time. Just works out into the onside, and there is no run. And yeah, so we mentioned the England men doing very well, a 3-0 series sweep, and South Africa women bowled out for 284 at Taunton. Kate Cross 4 for 63. So it's been quite a good day there. Marizanne Cap 150, 26 fours. That's played just backward of square on the offside, down to Michael Pepper. I think it's fair to say she dominated the South African innings, coming in at number 6 and getting 150 out of 284. So it's a pretty good effort. But 9 for no wicket here. Organ has 7. Holland has 2. Cook has none for 3 in 3 overs. And it's going to be Simon Harmer again.
Yeah.
Oh, well, Wesley, just tantalisingly there, is standing at the bowling crease and just looking as though he might be coming on to bowl, when in fact he's not.
Right, so let the game begin again. You just want the over at the far end to go, really, so that we can have some more entertainment here. Whether it's a 4, whether it's a 6, whether it's a wicket or just something. It's all going to happen in this over, I'm sure. It's it's Felix Organ to face, and there is a deep mid-wicket right on the rope now. As Harmer's round the wicket, flights it, and there's a slog sweep in the air, and that's going over the rope. That's going on the roof of the Hampshire dressing tent, just to the right of the pavilion. 2 slog sweeps there for Felix Organ. Takes him on to 13, and Hampshire are 15 without loss. How long can he keep doing that?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose it was an impressive shot. He's played that shot twice and very, very effectively as well. And that was a 6, wasn't it? So
yes.
we now look at when was the last Hampshire opener in a championship match to get 12 of their first 13 runs with 6s. So Dave, if you're back with us, I don't think even Barry and Gordon did that.
No. We've lost the ball. We're going to have a ball change already. Gosh, I can't believe it. I think it's bounced on the roof and it's obviously gone into the concrete area behind. I don't think it's... No, it's come back. I was going to say, the river's not far away.
Just got to be calculative here, Felix, because I think the job of these two is to bat for as long as possible to allow Gubbins and Vince to bat against
well, I agree.
The older ball.
But I think this is Organ saying this is the best way that I can bat for a long time.
Absolutely. Yeah. If he feels that's the best way, then that's what he should do.
It's almost like the most important fielders are at deep mid-wicket as well as the 2 close in on the leg side. Organ's on the back foot, plays that into the ground so late it's gone to first slip. It's just... who says 4-day cricket's not entertaining?
Well, it has been a thoroughly entertaining couple of days, hasn't it?
Harmer turns over the wicket to Organ and bowls, and Organ goes for the slog sweep, misses. Ball just bounces short of leg slip. Went for the huge heave on the leg side. That would have gone squarer, which is probably not a bad area, because with Snater having gone a little straighter at deep mid wicket, there is an area square on the leg side which is vacant. He's trying to cut that away on the offside, gets it through the field. That's Sam Cook running after it up towards deep point. They'll take 2. I think they'll come back for 3, and they do. A little too short there from Harmer, and Organ moves on to 16 off just 19 deliveries. 18 without loss, Hampshire in their second innings. It's a shame actually there's only just over 7 overs left in the day's play, because this is very entertaining.
Yeah, it's a good positive start by Hampshire here.
Well, Dave Allen's working over try. There's a reverse sweep there, half fielded by Sam Cook. So I have to keep blinking here. It's not a T20. And that'll be a single. Dave Allen's in overdrive. I could feel the smoke coming out of his ears now every time you ask him to do something here, Nick. Dave says, in 1950, Neville Rogers hit the first ball of Hampshire's innings versus West Indies for 6.
Right.
But he says he knows nothing else other than that. That's played into the ground by Organ and fielded at short leg. 18 without loss, 16 to Organ, 2 to Ian Holland. Hampshire need only 280 more.
Yes, and I suppose if they could get through unscathed today, well, you know, it's just going to give them a little bit of confidence, and then you just do it in half hours, I suppose, and try and get to a stage where you start to worry Essex. But they're a long way off from doing that.
Oh gosh, yeah.
But there are a couple of players that I can identify in that middle order, and I just mentioned that Dawson, when he got 7 wickets last time, got 100 in the same match. The sort of thing that he might just do, Liam Dawson. It'd be a terrific achievement on this pitch as Cook bowls, and here Gabbins just plays up into the offside and rolls out to Snater at backward point, and there's no run, one run up rather. So that takes the score along to 20. That 1 run, and brings Organ back on strike. I think Holland's been facing most of Cook recently. So yeah. It's been a day dominated by spinners exclusively in terms of the wickets column. Harmer and then Organ and Dawson. And this is hit. Oh, a late shot a little bit from Organ. I thought Cook might be through in there. Yeah, in the end, he sort of dug that out and played it up to Lawrence at mid-on, but not very comfortably.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Even though it went quite strongly up to mid-on, you're right. And I think Cook momentarily thought he had as well.
So career best match figures for Dawson, thanks to Edward for letting us know that. His previous best in a match at 8 for 129. So
good on him, deserves it as well. Good competitor.
Absolutely. And Cook bowls outside the off stump and left alone, gathered in by Rossington. So there is that little omen that we just mentioned in relation to when Dawson last got 7-4. So if he gets 110 not out in this match, it will be probably a greater achievement than the one in 2011-12 in Zimbabwe, I suspect.
I think so. He's had a good week, really. He bowled some important overs in some T20 games.
Yes,
towards the end of last week.
One of the televised games he bowled very well, didn't he, on things on Thursday night. And here's a stroke from Organ up towards mid-on. And there's no run as we get closer to the end here. The one thing you could just see going wrong for Hampshire is Organ plays 1 shot too many at Harmer and sort of gets out right at the end. But so far, it's been a positive approach from the 2 openers.
It has, which again probably gives you an idea of how much they were worried about Harmer by just sort of trying to play him normally.
Cook up to the wicket, bowls, and Organ just plays that down into the offside. Snater gathers in. Not expecting to see much of Snater. They might just bowl Snater, albeit for a couple of overs instead of Cook at the end, but it'll be a relatively long spell for Cook, but it's by no means certain. So 20 for no wicket. The overall target 299, and say really Hampshire in this situation sort of priority really is to try and get in unscathed if they can. 3 slips waiting, Cook bowls. And there's an appeal for LBW here. That's a big shout from Cook. He was going across the stumps. May have been going down the leg side. Don't think height was an issue, but the first sort of moment I thought of real uncertainty for Organ, I think, against Cook. But it's 20 for no wicket, and we've got 4 to Holland and 16 to Organ, and 279 more required.
Well, here we are then, so don't go anywhere for these next 6 balls. What's up? Yeah, just watching that replay of the shout for LBW on the live feed. Did come back actually, good delivery. May just have done a little too much, but a good delivery nevertheless. Sunshine out. That's Harmer, here we go then. What's going to happen here? As he bowls to Holland. Holland just works that away on the 45 on the leg side. Very fine. Will be picked up. Is that Brown down there?
Looks like it, yeah. Nice stroke that from Holland, wasn't it? Because he just got it straight down to earth, didn't he? That was his first priority. And away from the danger men. 3 men round the bat.
So Holland moves on to 5. It brings Felix Organ back on strike. Here he is facing Harmer on the back foot and steers that into the gap on the offside. It's quite interesting actually. Anything that's slightly short from Harmer at the moment, the batters are trying to get inside the line, which wouldn't be how you'd normally play an off spinner that's turning it a bit. But I think because of the bounce, it's better to get inside the line rather than get in behind it, because all you're doing then is pushing it to one of the 2 fielders on the leg side. Reverse sweep there to an arm ball, and it's hit Thingy on the pad. It's hit Holland on the pad. I'm getting excited myself here watching this. I wouldn't be as excited batting, that's for sure. Although I think it gets your adrenaline going. It does get your adrenaline going. I don't think it. I know it. There's a full delivery there, which is turned away on the 45. Felix Organ calls Holland through. Just putting Brown under pressure there a little bit, because he's really there saving 1. Yeah, he's way outside the off stump there, Ian Holland, with that reverse sweep. If you're watching on the live picture feed, I'm sure you'll agree. Way outside off stump, you can see all 3. It's Organ back on strike, and he plays back to a fullish length delivery there into the ground. Harmer not particularly impressed with that. We saw Barker play back to full length deliveries, didn't we? In the Hampshire first innings.
Keith Barker batted nicely this morning.
24 of 33 balls. Harmer bowls on the back foot there again. Organ doesn't time it, and it goes back to the bowler who was trying to open the face a little bit, hitting it through the offside, but the ball just followed him a fraction. End of the over, we've got 5 to do, 23 without loss.
Yeah, so a few what-ifs for Hampshire in this match. Obviously not being able to consolidate on their progress at the start of both Essex innings, and letting Essex get away both times. And then, of course, what happened this time yesterday when obviously Harmer absolutely ran riot. And I have to say, just going away from the game yesterday, I just thought that it was almost all over as a contest. It's been a much better contest today for most of the day than I thought it might be. And here is Cook coming into bowl, and Holland just comes forward and plays that defensively up towards mid-on, and there's no run. But Hampshire must be aware of how Essex have made it look relatively comfortable for batting on this surface. If you can get into the 40th and 50th over,
it's just getting that far though.
And they didn't get that far in the first innings. And it would be interesting if they've got batsmen in. Then Wesley has to start to think about who he bowls at the other end, and obviously it can't be Cook all the time. 23 for no wicket. That one keeps low, and Holland plays it up towards mid-on, and there's no run. So I guess that Vince's game plan is going to be to try and make Wesley have to make awkward decisions. You know, obviously it did. You know, it felt like it didn't matter too much, the fact that Lawrence bowled 4 very expensive overs in the first innings. But you know, if that would have happened tomorrow and Hampshire had a platform, it suddenly got 30-40 runs on very quickly. 23 for no wicket. I'm sure Lawrence will bowl at some point. Here is Holland played off the back foot, quick single, and Snater picks up but can't field cleanly. 1 more goes to a total, 24 for no wicket, because Lawrence actually has performed really well with the ball, and I was slightly surprised how he struggled. He just almost struggling to sort of pitch it as he would want to, and it was an amazing onslaught from down the order. Kyle Abbott, 23 and then over.
He didn't seem to turn it much either, really.
No, it was slightly surprising. Maybe he'll do better if he gets to go tomorrow. He does have something about him as a bowler. Cook bowls and he played down towards a backward point. Michael Pepper, who says looking to try and find a way to get into the game, really. Disappointing return to the championship side for him. He has had more success away from Chelmsford when playing at home. But yeah, overall very disappointing return for him. But I'm sure there will be more opportunities. As Cook, with 3 slips waiting, comes up, bowls, and Organ just turns around and plays defensively back down the pitch. But
hasn't really found much bounce, Cook, has he?
No.
Really? I mean, we saw Abbott get some bounce from time to time, but I think one that's gone past the outside edge of Ian Holland, I think in Cook's first or second over. But other than that, it's accurate, but it's not particularly menacing.
it's not been a factor so far, but there is a slight irony here in terms of the signing of Matt Critchley at 24 for no wicket. And here, this is just played by Organ down towards backward point. We mentioned that Lawrence had struggled with the ball in the first innings, but this would have been the one match so far where Critchley, to a certain extent, he did it at Old Trafford, but in this scenario, Critchley bowling decent leg breaks at the other end to Harmer would have been a fantastic combination for Essex, and it probably won't matter in the fullness of time in this match, but they'll be hoping that Critchley's injury improves, that he can play in those July games where he and Harmer might well be bowling in tandem for significant periods of time. 24 for no wicket, Organ 17 and Holland 7, the target 299.
4 overs, none for 19 for Harmer, who comes in. There's a reverse sweep there from Holland, and he's timed that well, and that's going for 4 runs. Square, in front of square on the offside. And I'll just make that 23 for Harmer, who as yet hasn't looked as threatening as he did in the first innings, but it's early days. 28 without loss. Hampshire still need another 271. Believe me, that is an absolute mammoth total to chase down, even from now, with Hampshire having made a decent start. Comes in again, still keeping those men round the bat, needs to. And there's another reverse sweep there. Cook's gone out deep this time, so it's only a single. Harmer won't mind that now. If he's playing reverse sweeps and only getting a single, Harmer will be more than happy. 29 without loss. Holland moves on to 12. Organ back on strike. Cook comes in at point. Bowls. Organ forward, it bounces and hits him on the top of the pad, probably around the thigh pad area maybe.
This is about the time in terms of the duration of the innings that Harmer came on yesterday. I think it was the 8th over.
Yeah.
So this is now the 10th.
Comes in again and bowls, and Organ on the back foot. Plays that out on the offside, no run.
Maybe Hampshire managed to find one of those not very good Duke balls that we've been using in the first few weeks of the season, and managed to smuggle it out there.
They did. They put it into the Essex box there.
Yes.
Here's the #1 ball. Harmer bowls, flighted. He's gone for the slog sweep on the leg side, and that's gone high. And that's 6 more into the members' pavilion. That's another great slog sweep there from Felix Organ.
It's a courageous knock from this young man, because I don't think he's sort of widely fancied around the circuit as the best opener on the circuit, but this is a courageous knock.
It certainly is. It's the short boundary side, so I think they probably would be 6 anyway the other side, but I think that might have been close. But it's more than enough. There is a fielder out there, Snater, way over his head, and Organ moves on to 23, courtesy of 3 massive slog sixes over mid-wicket. As Harmer bowls. There's a drive this time up to mid-off, and there is no run. End of Harmer's over. He's bowled 5 overs, none for 30. How long can he keep going like that?
Well, I think Wesley will.
He will keep going though.
No, he will. I mean, it's an interesting twist. Hampshire have to see this through. They've done so well, 35 for no wicket. They have to see this through for these remaining 3 overs. And of course, if in the very last over, for example, I think the last over will be bowled probably by one of the seamers, and it may well be Snater replacing Cook now. But so there's only 1 more over of Harmer to go. But the big lift for Essex would be if Norgan were to pick the wrong ball to hit in Snater's remaining over, in Harmer's remaining over. But it's been a brave effort. This he's played with great positivity. Gone to 23, 12 to Holland, and yes, these two have not received the best reviews in terms of as an opening partnership. Here is Snater bowls and driven up to mid-on, so Snater's first ball, but we've settled in well here, and critical for Hampshire. They didn't lose early wickets as they did in the first innings. So yeah, I think actually, particularly if Hampshire do go in none down, it's going to make it a really interesting day. The crowd will come with some anticipation, knowing it may not just be a cakewalk, and Essex might have to battle. They're still very strong favourites.
Already 3 down at this stage, Hampshire, in the first innings.
35 for no wicket. Snater with his bandana coming in from the Hayes close end. Bowls just kept slightly low and played out by Ian Holland up towards mid-on, and there's no run.
They can't find any bouncer seamers from the Hayes close end, can they? Snater the first time. It's only a couple of deliveries, but
Harmer is booked in at the river end. I'm not going to see much seam bowling from that end.
He is. He's booked in for the next 2 days.
I'll tell you what, if he's still bowling on the morning of day 4, Hampshire will be very, very close, particularly if Organ carries on much longer.
Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah. Snater up to the wicket, bowls, and Holland again just comes forward. Playing well here, Holland, because I think you're sensing the game plan is, obviously with Organ trying to attack Harmer, just stay there, watch these overs tick by, and the history of the game surely is that you're going to have, it's going to be easier in the second half of your 80 overs, and that ball gets older. Holland will be delighted to still be there at that time, of course. 35 for no wicket as Snater bowls to him, and he plays a check drive up towards mid-on, and there's no run. But coming towards the end of the day, it has been Essex's day overall, but Hampshire at various points have contributed well and competed extremely well at the start with a positive approach. The start of the Essex innings where they had them 5 down pretty quickly, and now at the end. 35 for no wicket. Snater bowls, and on the drive Holland sends it to mid-off, and playing some crisp strokes here.
Well, it's just ridiculous because it's such a normal game.
Yeah.
With the bowlers from the Hayes close end, it's bog standard. You see it every day of the week in first class cricket, and yet this end it's a totally different ball game. It's quite weird, really. The difference between the two ends and what the batters are facing are about as far apart as I think you'd ever get in one game.
Here is Snater up to the wicket, bowls. This is played defensively back down the pitch, and there's no run. And the very positive news for Hampshire fans, if they can go in no wickets down tonight. Kenter 138 for 2, so there's a 3rd wicket partnership developing, Bell Drummond 55 and Jack leading 29. And should that game be a draw and Hampshire win, then Hampshire will go to the top of the table. That's a long way off, but I just thought I'd throw that in.
Well, it's very nice of you, Nick.
35. Well, Kent actually, if they can knuckle down, it's obviously a flat wicket. If they bat through tomorrow, it's going to be hard for Surrey to win that game if they have to bat a second time. 35 for no wicket.
You've always been good to Hampshire people.
But no, it's
Here we go then, here's Harmer bowling to Organ. Organ's on the back foot, he gets wrapped on the pad, does he? There's a dive forward from short leg, it goes to ground. Did he get an edge on that? Didn't he? We'll never know.
What you'll have to do, and I think Glenn's here tomorrow with Victoria Polly, you have to make a tactical decision. Do you want to take Harmer's end of the commentary? You've done quite well so far.
Well, I find it more exciting. I'd be bored stiff watching the seamers, believe me. That's turned miles as he's bowled that deliberately way outside off stump, but it turns, but nowhere near enough. I honestly, I'd fall asleep watching the seamers from the far end because there's nothing happening. This is a totally different ball game, however. Here comes Harmer again, flighted, kicked away by Felix Organ. He's deliberately bowling slower at the moment.
Yeah. Has Organ played his last shot of the night? This is the thing. He's got 3 balls left. Is there one more left or not?
All right. Harmer's trying to find as much bounce as he can here by flighting it. There, it's flighted. He's wrapped on the pad, even though he's not playing shot, but it's too high, too much bounce. in his effort to try and get too much bounce, he's almost taken the LBW decision out of the equation.
The irony for Hampshire would be if Snater would have got a wicket in the final.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, of course it can happen. Of course it can happen, but
yeah,
this is the end where it's all happening. Arm ball in behind that is Felix Organ. He picked that all the way. Last ball of Simon Harmer tonight, and then they'll have to do it all again tomorrow against him. Here he is then, bowls, and that's flies too short and cut away, but not timed by Organ. So that is Harmer's spell tonight done. 6 overs, none for 30. Who would have thought that? You would have thought there would at least have been a wicket in there somewhere. Isn't it amazing, isn't it? Day earlier, it looked like he was going to take a wicket with every ball. Tonight, he looked like he was going to take a wicket most of the time, but he's wicketless tonight.
Other Division 1 games, Northampton 451, Warwickshire 64 for 1. Very slow going there at Northampton in that Warwickshire innings. And Lancashire 191 for 4 and reply to Gloucester's 337. Lancashire in third place will go second if Hampshire lose this and they win. And Stephen Crofter's 37 not out. And one game we'll just mention in Division 2, which is the battle of the top two. I'll give you a near close of play score on that in a second. Here is Snater with 2 slips waiting. Bowls, oh, that's a good one, which Holland has to just reach forward to. It's up in the block hole and he plays it defensively. Yeah, Knott's right on top. Middlesex, a bit of a partnership, 94 for 3 after Knott's made 551 for 8. Interestingly, Derbyshire made exactly the same score, 551 for 8 as well. It's catching on in the East Midlands. Sussex 142 for 3 in that one. So Derbyshire, who are going well in Division 2, nicely placed. And at Worcestershire 128 for 4, 260 ahead of Glamorgan. Here is Snater bowls, and that's just played defensively by Holland up towards mid-on. And Holland, to date, has looked very secure, playing the traditional opener's role, seeing off the new ball. Organs produced the fireworks against Harmer, but Holland, mainly facing the seamers, has done a very effective job so far. 35 for no wicket.
Yeah, certainly have. It'll be a huge relief if they get to the close of play not losing a wicket tonight.
It's just 4 balls to go. Need a further 2, 6, 4. That's beaten him outside the off stump, but good delivery from Snater. Just drawing the shot from Holland, who goes to prod the pitch. Well, this is going to be a little, if I can get there, it's going to be a little mini achievement here for Hampshire. And Essex will know that Hampshire at various points have been very competitive, and they'll be aware Hampshire have had this long winning streak as well, and they'll know that there's still work to do. As Snater bowls, oh, and that wraps the glove of Holland. It gets up. That's the first one that's really done that, but he played it pretty well, kept it to ground, which was a crucial thing as it rolled out to Brown at mid-wicket. There's 2 balls to go in the day. 35 for no wicket. It's been that for a while. Hampshire won't mind at all. It's that final figure in the wickets column that is really all that matters this evening. Organ 23, Holland 12. 2 balls left. Snater from the Hayes close end bowls to Holland, and Holland, a ball that keeps low, but he squeezes it out towards backward point. There's Pepper, and there's no run. Simon Harmer's day, 8 for 46 and 61 top score, but Liam Dawson as well with his best haul for Hampshire. And he took 7 for 68, not his first class best, but his best in the championship, and his best for Hampshire. Here's Snater. This is the final ball of the day. He bowls, and Holland, with an angled bat, sends it down to Pepper at backward point, and Organ and Holland have done a very good job there. 35 for no wicket. They need 264 more to win. Rossington and Harmer, the 2 batting heroes of the day, patting each other on the bat. Well, Essex know they're still in the box seat, but Hampshire, just a little reminder there, Kevin, that they're looking to fight all the way here.
Oh, that was a mini battle one, wasn't it? But there's a lot more. There's a lot more to face tomorrow. But all you can do is win whatever's placed in front of you. And tonight it was important that they got through those few overs, and they did. But as I say, there's going to be a lot more trickier times tomorrow. But yeah, listen, it'll give them a little bit of a boost. They know they've been outplayed at times, and Harmer's been absolutely awesome. But tonight, Harmer just looked a little human.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see how they start tomorrow. Can Hampshire's openers continue and start to take Essex perhaps into having to use the older ball, and who's going to be the backup for Harmer? Questions for tomorrow, but Essex still favourites, but the game very much alive. It's been a fascinating contest. Essex 238 and 223, Hampshire 163 and needing 299 to win, 35 for no wicket. Glenn Speller here tomorrow with Victoria Polly and Kevin James. I shall be back on Saturday actually for the T20 game here against Glamorgan. Don't forget Friday evening, Hampshire, Gloucestershire, and of course Sussex, Essex in the T20 as well, with quarter-final places at stake. Thanks for listening, and join us again here tomorrow morning.